Hello? Oh my gosh. Hi guys. Welcome back to another playthrough of Our Life Beginning and Always. Okay, last time where I was at, I was here. We had one more to go. Oh wow, I had like literally one more. Okay, and then we should be done with the summer then, right? Or wait, is there more? Oh no, that's just DLC content. Okay, so there's always just 5. I'm assuming there's just always 5 when it comes to like the free content, not the DLC, but yeah. Alright. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house, and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in that day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been on the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gotten to see a few days ago. Wait, who was Lee again? I kind of forgot who Lee was. Oh, our cousin. Yeah, okay, our cousin.
It was unbelievable. They were singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I gotta see more shows like that.
He smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. He had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. You also liked to sing, but you weren't very good at it. You also liked to sing and had talent of your own. You didn't like to sing, but you had been told you were good at it. You weren't good at singing, and that suited you fine. Personally, I like to sing, but I'm not really good at it, so let's just go for that. That didn't stop you from doing it, though.
I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show. Think of how fun it'd be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch too. It'd totally work.
Yes, let's do it. I don't know about that. The idea gave you stage fright. Sure, I'll give it a try. That's not a good idea. It'd be embarrassing. It's kind of girl failure. She's socially anxious too. Let's just do this.
But wouldn't showing off to everybody be fun?
The thought of an audience made you feel queasy.
Not really. Are you sure? Are you really super sure? You have so many skills that could show off to the masses.
Okay, I'll do it. I really don't want to. I'd rather do something else. I don't want to.
Sorry.
Your cousin seemed a little disappointed, but she nodded and respected your wishes all the same. The two of you lay back on the blanket and lays in the sun. You know, maybe I missed a huge opportunity doing that. Like, maybe there could have been like a future where we would actually like create our own plays or something, and I just threw that away. Throwing ideas back and forth on what you could fill your time with. The beach was nearby, so you could go swimming or collect shells, or find something to go back at home after all. In the end, nothing was tempting enough to move you from your current position, so you continued chatting with Lee and nibbling on your snacks while the sun traveled in the sky overhead.
So, how are your neighbors doing? You haven't spoken about them lately.
You know, Lee wasn't talking about neighbors generally, or down the street. She wanted to hear about the Holdens across the road. It was no secret that she liked to keep up to date on what was happening with them, or more specifically Cove. There weren't many other people or your age around to talk about. They're great, they're okay. You rolled your eyes, have no idea, I don't care. They're okay. You shrugged, not really having any other details to give her.
Oh, that's good.
She was wanting something juicier, but it couldn't be helped. She wanted the tea. Lee loved to chat about others' relationships and would always ask you for the details on people you both knew.
I think Cove is pretty neat. I don't know why you don't like him.
You dodged the question. We didn't dislike him. We just think he's okay. Not really wanting to get into another conversation about it.
I just don't. How about Derek? You have seen him around.
I don't know about him either. I like him. He's pretty neat.
At least he says what. So when he's here.
Oh, she just said cool. Sorry. The sun slowly began to set, the sky turning a rosy pink and then warm orange.
It's Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him.
You got a crush on him? He's a good person. I really like him too. He's okay. I think I like him too. I like Derek. Even though I've only seen him like once in this game.
I knew you would. So exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else that I haven't heard of yet?
Yuli wriggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. Oh, I don't want to go on the Derek route though. No, I'm not going on the Derek route. No. We're not going on the Derek route. Listen, I like him, but we're romancing Cove, right? I don't want to romance him. Lee, there's nobody I like that right now. I can't answer that. There's nobody He huffed in disappointment, pursing her lips together.
Darn, but you promised to tell me if that changes, right? I'll do it for you.
I'll tell. No, would that be a secret? Maybe. Boo. You knew her whining wasn't serious. That's just how she was.
Speaking of crushes, there is one boy I think is pretty cute.
You leaned back on your elbows and listened as Lee talked about her crush, all in great detail. It was nice to her telling you a little gossip for once, rather than always trying to get it out of you. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Oh, hi, Moms. Hi, Elizabeth. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air at the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what? You weren't sure. Who died? What's going on? You looked between them and said nothing. Oh. Which one is this? Oh, frig, I forgot it. It's been a while doing your voice. Hi, Bert. Welcome, Lee. Oh, welcome back. The room fell quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping this secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your mom's nodded in agreement with her.
Elizabeth was asking about her parents.
Oh, we're going into this. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shoveled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. Didn't know what either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you'd accidentally stumble into it. Dang. Okay, they're talking. I didn't think they were going to talk about this in this game. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your best. But we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again.
I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby.
Oh, so she's Filipino. Oh, she's a Filipina. Elizabeth dropped her arms, your eyebrows shooting upwards in surprise. What about us? Wait, I wasn't born here?
No, you weren't.
You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. I'm assuming there's... Wait, where is this? Is this like in the US? I'm assuming this takes place in the US. Because I'm thinking about citizenship, right? Like how... I mean, there must be like some stuff where it's like a little bit more easier to have like citizenship there. If you were like a baby, you know, I think it might be more lenient if you needed a US citizenship, but you were born in the Philippines, because I'm pretty sure that's like a thing where it's more lenient for like a child to have compared to like an adult or like a teenager. Am I gonna have to pass some tests or even be a citizen? I was literally talking about that, yeah. You shouldn't though, I'm pretty sure you shouldn't, right? No, you were adopted to that country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. Yeah.
I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the US.
Okay, so this does take place in the US.
Nothing can be held against you.
Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy.
Who were my parents? As people, why did they put me up for adoption in the first place?
Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer.
I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan.
I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, settling on her enraged.
Great, so I can never meet them, even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, since they lived in another part of the world when they were still alive.
Elizabeth turned her back on you, and your mom stormed off, sprinting up the stairs into her room before anyone could stop her.
I have to go and talk to her.
Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head.
We should give her a little space to process it all.
Your Ma's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you, and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side.
I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Bert, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know for after all.
Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. I want to know. I want to know. No, I'm not gonna look at the other choices. I want to know. Am I also from the Philippines? Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk.
I can leave if you want to have things be private.
Sure, I want you to be here. I like Lee.
I can do that.
Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion.
You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth, we used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the US. We're sorry to tell you, Bert. We're sorry to tell you, Bert, but your parents had also passed away, and no other family member took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. You didn't want to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared. We're sorry, Bert.
Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. Thank you for telling me. Okay, you said nothing. It's not your fault. You didn't kill them, right? You started to cry. You were angry. Thank you for telling me.
I didn't want to know, and now I do. Thank you for listening, Bert. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have. How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay?
Lee watched you closely as though judging how exactly she should react to what was going on. I feel fine, but you didn't mean to. You started to cry. You held back the tears, but you weren't fine at all. Anger rose. You said nothing. Oh, I feel fine. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but you knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words after that. You went up to your room. You needed to stay here with your moms. You wanted to go. Let's see Elizabeth. How is she doing? You were worried about Elizabeth, even though she had so angry when she had been so angry when talking to your moms about everything. You could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. You asked Lee to go with you. Does she like Lee? I don't know if she likes Lee. If we bring Lee, I don't know. Let's leave Lee, because I don't know if she likes Lee. It would be best to speak to Elizabeth alone. There was more chance of her opening up to you that way. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock on it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle, you found it was locked. Raising your hand again, you knocked louder this time, thinking she must have her headphones on and you so couldn't hear you. When she didn't answer the door a second time, it was clear to you that she either still couldn't hear or was just straight up ignoring you. It hurt to be shut out, especially right now. You went up to your room. You wanted to get out of the house. Let's get out of the house. It's me, Cove! Cove, where are you?
I'm gonna go out just for a little while. I'll be back before it's late. Really late.
Your mom's nodded in understanding, trusting you to make the best call for yourself. Without knowing where you really wanted to go, you began to walk down the street quietly, dragging your feet. You turned and kept walking, unsure of what else to do. Everyone else had been so upset, and you didn't have the first idea of how you could help. Eventually, you found yourself at the beach, your feet sinking into the soft sand while you looked up over the ocean. You took off your shoes and paced the sand over to the water's edge, letting the cool ocean swirl around your bare feet. It was comforting being there, with the ocean breeze rustling your pink hair and the smell of salty water filling your nostrils. Eventually, you took a seat down on the ground, watching the sun as it dipped down further and further towards the horizon before it disappeared completely. The sky shifted from blue and pink to orange and then the deep blue of the night. All the things your moms had said raced through your mind, and you stayed still, trying to make sense of it all.
Hey.
The sudden voice of your sister behind you made you jump. You saw her standing a little way away. She walked closer, and you didn't quite know what to do or what she was planning on saying. When she stood right in front of you, she paused, her eyes drifting to the ground as she hesitated. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over.
Did moms tell you about your parents too?
I don't want to talk about it. My birth parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that.
Sorry.
Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer.
Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news.
I didn't hear anything.
Shutting everything out with loud music was very typical of your sister. You didn't feel much less confused, though.
Why didn't you stop doing that then?
She shook her head, as though the answer should be obvious.
I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone.
She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once more.
I wanted to ask you about what happened without everyone breathing down our necks.
That was pretty crappy of you to just bail. I'm amazed you noticed that was unkind. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm not mad at you. You're quietly surprised, but I'm not mad at you. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft.
I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me. How are you allowed to be that mature?
The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl.
You have to be born in the US to become president. What?
Oh, you wanted to be president? You had never heard of the dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued.
I get that he was never gonna be president, but it just feels weird having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born, I was gonna have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it looked like in my head. I could have spoken about another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here, had someone else as my sibling.
You would have spoken in Tagalog or Bisaya or another dialect in the Philippines.
And then my parents died and I was adopted, and the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was even if I wanted to.
Heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. You know, like, I always wonder if, like, people who are, like, also, I guess me, but to other people who are, like, from other countries, I guess immigrated to other countries, but, like, wondered if, like, oh, I wonder if, like, our family stayed in, like, this, in, like, the country where we were from before, like, I wonder how different our lives would have been, especially with language-wise, because, and accent-wise, too. Like, you're, like, the way you're taught, a specific language from your origin country isn't really taught to you in, like, the country you're in now. And your accents would probably sound different, I wonder. I feel like that too. You knew exactly how she felt. I don't really understand. I feel like that too. Yeah, I feel like that too, honestly.
I can't stop wondering what my life would have been like if I wasn't adopted. There are so many things that could have been different.
Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself.
I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask that question. It was just something I've had in my head for a while.
Sometimes, like, things just happen, like, randomly, though. Like, you wouldn't really, like, suspect, like, this would be the specific day where I would talk about something like this.
When it was just me and my mom's in the living room, I was just kind of said it finally, and there you go.
She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently.
Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Bert.
She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes.
I'd already figured a long time ago that moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news.
Technically, one of them could have been related to you. You kept listening to Elizabeth. It really doesn't change anything. Yeah, I would keep on listening.
Nothing about the family I was first born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you're so lucky.
She bumped her shoulder against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners.
Always be my little sister.
Aww, oh, that's sweet. You smiled softly at her, you jokingly groaned at the prospect. You bumped her back. You'll always be my family too. I think I'm really lucky. He took in the moment quietly. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end.
Ready to head back home? It's been a long day.
You gave her a nod. You walked home together in a comfortable silence down the well-worn street. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stopped through the door, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. Their heads snapped up, and they got to their feet to meet you, Ma giving you a careful smile.
We're so glad to see you.
Hi, I'm sorry for walking away before everything is alright. You said nothing. I'm sorry for walking. Everything is alright.
That's wonderful, sweetheart. Really wonderful.
Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you.
We really couldn't have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms.
You smiled at your comfort. You were so glad your moms were alright. You're smushing me. You all chuckled and rumble of laughter, shaking you all as you continued to hold each other tight.
I love you too.
They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew then that you all had each other, and you always would.
Hey, I hope you're alright.
Lee came up towards you, a soft smile plastered on her face.
And are you okay, Elizabeth?
Elizabeth rolled her eyes and huffed a breath, and you knew she wasn't used to showing her vulnerable side.
I'm doing fine.
Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her.
Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family?
That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over.
I love the sound of that. Why not?
Who's got a suggestion?
It should be something we can do here in the house with everyone in the same room. We could just put on a movie. That would be wonderful.
It's good to me. You're happy with watching a movie. You were so thrilled at the idea, but went away along with it. Anyways, let's watch a movie. I'll cook up some popcorn. The rest of you can pick a movie. Your mom headed off to the kitchen, and Ma turned to face the rest of you.
What did we have in mind? Anything but drama. We don't need any more of that today.
There were some chuckles at her joke, and you thought about what you would prefer to watch. I want to go watch a rom-com. I'd prefer watch a horror, sci-fi. I'm in the mood for an action movie. Maybe we should watch a family-friendly thriller film. A comedy would be great. Horror.
Cool. Perfect.
With the basics settled, Ma took the sorting through the DVD collection. You didn't notice that Elizabeth was sliding up to you until she was right next to you, arm to arm.
Since there's only so much room on the couch, I say it should be go to Bert and I. This is our day. Wait, I want to sit with you too. I'm small. You won't even notice I'm there.
Elizabeth raised a skeptical eyebrow, not so sure about that. Maud stood back up with a DVD in her hand and a smirk on her face.
I want to sit with the cool kids too. Surely there's room for one more, right? It might be a tight fit, but we can make it work.
You could tell that Ma was teasing, and Elizabeth rolled her eyes at where this was going. She had expected an easy victory. I don't need to sit on the couch. You felt shy over being made the center of attention. There's not enough space for everybody. I don't need to sit on the couch.
I can sit anywhere, it doesn't matter to me.
Mom had come back with a big bowl of fresh popcorn, and you inhaled the smell of the hot, salted snack. What's the skinny?
We all want to sit with Elizabeth and Bert, but there's not enough room on the couch.
Mom took the answer in stride and pursed her lips thoughtful. That's definitely a problem. I suppose there's only one solution. Elizabeth and Bert will still have to sit on the floor in front of the couch. That way, there's spots behind them, and the floor at the sides.
Oh yes, that's fair.
What? No. Oh. Hold on.
What? No, the whole point was getting the couch ourselves.
Sorry, that's the cost of popularity. Elizabeth groaned and crossed her arms over her chest to annoyance.
Fine, Bert, you're with me in front. The rest of you can fend for yourselves.
There was a mad dash as Mom and Lily raced for the couch behind you and Elizabeth. And Ma put the DVD in player before joining them. Everyone's zone quieted down, and only sounds to be heard were of the hands scooping up popcorn and munching it down as the movie began. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be a part of the family you had. That was probably my favorite, like, I guess, what do I say this, like, category out of like all of these. Besides step 2, it's even better than step 1. I think the one without Cove was probably my favorite one. Like I really like what they talked about in the family story, especially because like I did not expect them to talk about like where Elizabeth and Bert were from, because I don't really see that much about like adoption stories about like when it comes to like same-sex relationships. It's usually like from the media I've seen, it's usually like, oh, they're just a happy family. They don't talk about like the kids don't ask about like who were their like parents beforehand, like what, or like were they alive, were they dead. Like I've never seen, I don't see that much media about that, and I appreciate that this game actually like talked about that.
Okay, summer ends. Yes.
There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you were heading to class. Boo. You were excited to go back. Anxiety gnawed your stomach. It was a bummer. Your feelings were muddled. Anxiety. Going back to school meant handing over the autonomy you'd have over the past weeks. You had very little control over what you did at school or who you shared a class with. It was with a heavy heart that you chose your outfit for your final day of freedom. Life was going to be different. You had come to think of the summer vacation as the norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So rather than it being that different, it was kind of a return to the normal. What did your normal life really mean? You considered how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that one year, the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You'd gotten distracted, one arm still out of the sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. The season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kyra's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You were happy you'd finally gotten the chance to know her. You had become extremely fond of her. You didn't really like her. Your mind wasn't made up on how you felt about her. You didn't really care about one way or the other. I'm like neutral to her, honestly. She was just Cove's mom, and that was really it to you. You finished dressing and went downstairs ready to find out what the day held for you. Laying on your belly, you were longing on the couch in your living room. You gave your legs one last good stretch when your moms came over looking amused. Any chance you could make some room for us? Mm-hmm. They sat down on either side of you after you arranged yourself, and in doing so, You noticed that Elizabeth was fuming from one of the seats at the dinner table. You weren't the only one that caught that.
It shouldn't be much longer, Elizabeth. You just wanted to make sure that we were all here to say goodbye before Kyra leaves.
Jeez. Bert, could you pop on over to check how it's going, please?
With a plain nod, you left the house and made it across the street. Immediately, you noticed the front door to the Holden house was open, and you approached curiously, peeking inside. Cove noticed you right away and greeted you with a wave. You stepped fully in the doorway.
Hi.
What's up?
My mom's wanted everyone to say bye before your mom leaves.
Cove smiled lightly, and at that, and nodded. Mom already called a taxi. We're taking her bags out. Cove! Who are you talking to? And just then, Mr. Holden came to see you, the visitor. His expression brightened when Cove took a step to the side so that he could see you there. Always good to see you, Bert. But why are you standing out there? Come on in! He gestured for you to come inside, and you did so. Sliding in past Cove, Kyra popped out from another room after hearing the noise, and a big smile grew on her face. Hi, Bert. So glad I could get to see you today.
Hello.
Nodding, Kyra turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom wasn't fazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats. Later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly. And I'm so happy this trip was a success! Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. And then Cove stiffened. Kyra loosened her hold on him enough to study his face. Concerned, she spoke her next words in a whisper that had been meant just for her son. Do you want to unshelve it? Raising an eyebrow, Cliff watched him walk carefully. His smile began to falter. What's wrong? Cove's gaze moved to the floor. He looked like he was grappling with where to begin, but then Cliff smacked a hand on his own cheek. The noise caught everyone's attention. Cliff's eyes were wide, and you could clearly see the light bulb moment he was experiencing on his face. It shouldn't have been a surprise. I went behind your back again. Yeah. And it took only me until the very last moment to realize it. Crossing his arms, Cliff laughed at himself. You could tell it was out of frustration and disbelief rather than the usual good-natured feelings. I'm so sorry. I thought I had gotten better at this. You have. Cove's voice was small, but it was enough to break through his dad's thoughts. Cliff's mouth pulled into a small smile. It's been a long time since something like this happened. Not long enough. You deserve better than the blockhead falling back into old habits just because things seem to be going good. It won't keep happening. I promise I'll work on it. We all can work on it. I can try harder myself to be in the loop on what's actually happening over here. A happy smile quickly spread across Cove's face, and he answered delicately. Okay. You felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had grown together since you first met them. They could talk to each other more easily. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived, rolling up in front of the house in clear view of the open door. Kyra stood up, smiling sadly. Well, that's my ride. Oh, yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kyra as you all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kyra's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street, and to your surprise, Derek was also with them. Derek, I thought I was gonna see you more. Why did you just suddenly appear now at the end of this arc? He stood uncomfortably, and he waved as soon as he noticed him.
What's up?
Hey, Bert. Hi, Cove.
When did you get here?
My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago. Thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time, sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude.
What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. Derek came to hang out often, so it was inevitable that the two had met at some point this season. I think so too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gotten there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming unpolite, but their reassuring words soothed his worries. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you.
Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help?
Nah, don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set.
In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kyra took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kyra still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. I'll call when I get to the airport, and when I make it to Nevada.
Also, you better call the moment you walk the door at home. Otherwise, we'll be wondering all night if you got the trouble on the way there.
I can do that. And could you call tomorrow too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course! I want to hear all about it. Kyra put a hand on Cove's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move into squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom, I love you so much. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounded things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked into the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm across his back. Bye, Mom.
Bye, travel safe.
Kyra rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to call out with your family and hers. Wave goodbye. Wave goodbye. Wait, actually, wait, no. Go back. Go back. Watch quietly. What? Okay. Watch quietly. That's more Bird. Bird would probably do that. You could only stand there as it unfolded. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps on into the empty street, still looking at the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. You got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her.
This was a great vacation, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. You're not in agreement. You shrugged. I don't know. The supper isn't over until they fall asleep.
No naps for that then. I can't risk you accidentally ending summer a few hours too early for the rest of us.
Chuckling, you shook your head, amused. Cove walked back over to the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly, and everyone else there smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well,
Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present.
It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together.
Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled.
I bet you could use some help with that.
That'd be absolutely wonderful.
Derek glanced between the two, his eyebrows furrowed.
Is there something I could do?
Your mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
how sweet.
That's very sweet, Derek. It's alright.
It's not your job. Technically, your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, doing chores for the neighbors.
Mom laughed a little over her own joke. You watched Derek look away, discouraged.
It's okay.
I don't mind.
He was a little bashful about it. He wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it back down. Ma tried again to get things moving forward.
Ooh.
Why don't you kids go have fun?
Oh my gosh, my throat.
Y'all can come back in about an hour. We'll make enough for everyone.
Mom nodded in agreement.
Sounds good.
Another stunning idea, Lonnie.
Thanks. Oh.
Yeah, thank you!
That sounds like a plan then. I don't want to crap on your style. I've got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon.
You should come up later too. No reason you should be the odd man out.
Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned, wavering both pleased smile.
Very much.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the invites.
He looked over at the assembled crowd with knowing glances.
I can help too with as many people as you're feeding. That's going to be a lot of food.
Didn't you hear what we told Eric? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you in.
Ma raised an eyebrow when Cliff waved it off.
Come on.
I insist. Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite the chef.
Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged.
An airtight argument.
If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff.
Cliff's grin widened and seemed more hyped than you'd expected him to be about helping with lunch. Cove shook his head, a fond smile on his face.
Then all of us people will be heading inside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out.
Maybe not all of them.
Ma tilted her head, a silent question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment.
I'll stay with the kids.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Both your moms smiled at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just your teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others as a curious expression on her face. So, what now? He suddenly wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Cove spoke up after no one else did to answer Elizabeth's question. Want to go down to the shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on.
Yeah, sure. Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me.
Let's do it, okay? So if you guys really want to head or something, okay. You strolled across the road as a group, down the beach and then to the left. It took less than 15 minutes to arrive at one of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around at the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out Sverry's stall with his eyes wide with wonder. Elizabeth and Cove were in good spirits as well.
That's so cool!
He ran over to the street magician, who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed the middle-aged man his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face.
What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff?
Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Miss Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat? Please? Flopsies will behave, I promise.
Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene.
Maybe there's a boss of the shopping street? No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just a regular stores behind walls.
It's different if someone wants a real store. But here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want to do and whatever.
That's so neat! Would we be allowed to do something too?
Cove laughed at Derek, began almost vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do?
Well, I don't know what. Not yet. I mean, I just found what it's a possibility, you know?
But there's gotta be something.
We know cool stuff. I'm sure if we think about it, we could plan a show that really get a crowd pumped.
You thought it was a great idea and wanted to be part of it. You felt he could try this idea on his own. You thought Derek needed to abandon the idea via stat. You gave a look to the other two. Bert would do this, though.
I don't think you should do that, sorry.
Why not?
You don't even know what you'd be doing.
This is still what we call the brainstorming phase. I know what I was in for when it was really the time to shine.
With some amusement, the gang continued to peruse the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cove picked out a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought that it had to be Greenland.
You know, this is a world with what looks like 9 continents. I think we're both wrong.
You wanted to side with Cove, you backed up Derek, you agreed with your sister. No, it's Australia, you stayed out of it. No, it's Australia. The other 3 giggled at your interjection. Suddenly, Cove froze. You stared at him, and then you tried to see what caught his attention. When you saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Between the crowds, his bright hair stood out like a neon green bowl in the kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Jeremy! Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street, and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Derek frowned and Cove sighed. Neither of them were happy to see him again. You stood there shocked, you glared at Jeremy, waved at Jeremy to the smile, you looked away. You didn't want to even start with Jeremy's shenanigans today. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow, her gaze swept over Jeremy without a hint of clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly.
I'm glad he's not gonna start anything.
He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk.
See, that was the mean kid.
What?
Huh?
She still didn't get it. The first summer day hadn't made her nearly as much of an impression on her as did for Derek, but he smiled and waved it off.
Just forget about him.
I already have.
He laughed at Cove, smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with your parents he hated. The glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. You mentioned the realization to everyone you thought of to yourself. You mentioned that.
I don't think Jeremy will stay here with summer ending. That might have been the last time we ever see him.
Guess we won't have to worry about that guy anymore.
Derek kicked up a little rock on the road, clattered it forward, and then rolled under a stall.
But I still think it's kind of sad Jeremy turned out to be, well, like he is. It would have been nice to make another friend.
Maybe in another playthrough? Cove shook his head. He was clearly not broken up over what might have been. Good riddance. I think I might want to see him again sometime. Maybe he'll become nicer in the future. Elizabeth rolled her eyes at the strange farewell to the odd boy, not interested in the slightest. She clearly didn't understand his impact, and at this point, she didn't want to understand. You couldn't help but wonder, though, what would have happened if you were to have interacted with Jeremy more. Probably a lot of stuff would have happened. Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. You thought he was horrible, you thought he was weird, stupid, pitiful, okay? You didn't know what to think about him. And the group moved on from the stall and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by. The lunch must have been waiting for you now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet.
Come on, guys, let's go get going so we can eat. I'm starving.
If we have to, I can't wait. Phew, I've had enough walking around homebound. Here we go. You nodded silently. Cove stretched out one of his arms lazily. Well, let's go then. You nodded at him. Then you followed Elizabeth as she took it upon herself to lead the way home. She walked fast, much faster than Derek preferred. She kept gaining a lead. And then Derek would jog back up to the group. With Cove's long legs, he had no trouble keeping up. You moved to the front with Elizabeth. You decided Gigglescope moved Cove. You up close to your neighbor. You both chatted about things you'd seen at the shopping street, with Derek chiming in every so often. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got to the front door and held it open for everyone as you each musayed inside. The 3 parents were still in the kitchen. They looked up and waved.
Welcome back, everyone.
You made it just in time.
I hope you're hungry.
So, did everyone have a nice time out?
She gestured for people to take a seat at the table. Plates and silverware have already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you, and Derek took the seat to your left.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time.
It was fine.
It was nice. I really liked it. It was okay, I guess. Yeah, the bank case went off without a hinge.
That's good in my book.
Casually, Mr. Holden sat on the empty seat across from Cove. He smiled at you and all the other kids. Mom set down a platter full of water glasses on the table. She looked down at the gathering.
It's a good thing we had eight chairs. I can't remember the last time we've had a group this big over for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down or to the other side? Make sure you all get one. Sure.
Those close to the cups obliged to started offering waters around. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table.
And you shouldn't slouch.
She pointed to Mr. Holden, calling him out, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table.
Oops.
Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture to something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes, and Ma gave a level look at her.
Shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house either.
Elizabeth groaned, long and longer, suffering. Ma giggled and Mr. Holden chuckled.
Well, a lot of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He has the best manners here.
Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners, on top of all his attempts to aid your parents, made him the model of a meal attending behavior.
It's nothing.
It's true, though. You have been a lovely guest.
I've noticed that too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek.
Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair.
And do you have anything good to say about our other guest?
She looked adorably at Cove with a teasing smirk.
Or is there just nothing to say?
Well, Cove is my number one, but he doesn't still clean his way hands by wiping them on his pants.
Cove frowned at that and absentmindedly brushed his hands on his legs. Your mom's laughed lightly, calling him out.
Elizabeth, you should know after all these years, Cove is hardly a guest anymore.
Cove smiled awkwardly. Thanks. Manners, who cares? I don't think it's a big deal. You tease Cove for a bad habit. You keep quiet. Is it tease Cove?
I don't think I'm gonna let the pants thing go.
Cove looked over at the window, not wanting to face the truth. Everyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out for the afternoon. After the food, you and the others played a couple games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. The time passed by quickly, and soon it was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms, and Cove drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as your dad finished up, he would be leaving. I guess we're going.
Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need the phone.
Cove raised an eyebrow, and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was standing right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out, by the way, and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what you figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various good farewells.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Cove. We gotta do this again sometime.
Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, Bert. You waved goodbye to him. You waved back with a curt gesture.
Seriously, dude, we'll have to hang out later. I'm gonna miss you during school.
He offered Cove a high five, and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house, and Elizabeth was still chatting to her friends on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. Oh, Derek's still with us? He elected to stay outside in front of the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. He decided to keep your guests company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair, and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot.
Thanks for waiting for me.
He kicked at the ground distractedly.
Dad's still gonna be a while, so do you wanna go for a walk?
Okay.
The two of you walked down to the street again, just wandering without a destination planned. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. He turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow, you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. Oh, sorry. You turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground and you raised an eyebrow. Yeah, what's up? What's up? Is everything okay?
I'm a little sad. It's just with school starting back up, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework, clubs, and practices, and everything else.
Sucks.
It really sucks. We gotta go to different schools.
His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This was really concerning for him.
What if we don't have time?
You channeled some optimism in this conversation. You shared those worries.
I was thinking about that too. We've hung out so much this summer, it's gonna be really different not seeing you around as much.
Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was harder to read his expression.
Hey, Bert, I actually wanted to talk to you about something, if you don't mind.
There was a pause and you waited for him to finish his thoughts.
It was just kind of weird. Do you like guys at all? What? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who was a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. Why?
I could be with a guy. I don't want to be with a guy. Maybe. I don't know. Why are you asking us this? I kind of don't want to talk about that. You sure? Sure? Yeah, what's up? What's up? He's gonna confess! No, he's gonna confess, is he? No! No, Derek! No! We only, met you, twice! This is, the second time! Oh god, I hope it's not a confession.
Okay, then.
He hesitated before finishing his question.
So,
Oh, no, it is! Wait! Oh, shit!
So, what I mean is, is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like around here? No! Not at school or anything like that.
He ducked his head further. He thought about it. Mr. Holden. I mean, he left an impression with us, but not, romantically. It's just he's just a weird guy. No, I'm sorry, Derek. We didn't even meet that much. Dude, we didn't even meet that much. We only met, at the beginning of the summer arc, and then finally at the end. We didn't really interact that much, Derek. I like you, but not like that. There are a lot of guys I think are cool. There are a lot of guys I think are cool.
Oh,
Derek. Yes! Rejection! Derek shrugged and then started to mumble and wonder. No.
maybe you don't get what I'm trying to ask.
Derek pulled himself together. Somewhat meekly, he looked at you while he tried to project confidence. His posture was too tight for you to believe it. He was nervous.
hi.
You know, thinking ahead and everything is important. You've got to get yourself a game plan and all that. It's good to make plans, especially backup plans.
He babbled, full of energy and forced gusto.
Well, anyways, I heard that this thing where people make pacts with their good friends. If they don't find anyone else, then they get together.
Okay.
together like they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, it might be cool if we did something like that.
Oh no. Derek, no. His eyes widened and started to make frantic hand gestures.
Just so you know that we'd never have to worry about the future already finding someone. We can set it like a whole decade in the future forever from now. would have graduated high school and probably college too. We'd have jobs and be really grown up. I mean, we'd probably have our own places and maybe our own pets and student loans, cars.
Derek babbled on for a while more. It was as if all the words had held in silence during her wild cat burst out now, all at once.
So yeah, what do you think?
I'm sorry, Derek. Derek. Oh, Derek, buddy. That's a good idea. I think we have a back. You accept the deal because you were fond of Derek. I think about it. I'll think about it. You don't think that we're. I'm sorry. Do you like me?
Oh my god. Of course I like you, but it's not.
He had a pause, desperate to find a way to explain himself.
It's, well, you don't have to think about that kind of thing right now. It's better to worry about all that later, when we're grown up. That's why it's a good idea to have a plan, you know? Well, honestly, I think you and me would work out the best for that.
Derek, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't think that would work. I'm sorry, Derek. I'll think. I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry. Okay.
Don't worry about it. That's okay. It was just an idea. Thanks for hearing me out and answering my questions and stuff.
You felt a little worried about Derek. Wasn't happy. When you saw your face, he smiled encouragingly. I'm sorry, Derek.
I promise I'm not mad. I was just wondering. I am sure things will be okay in the future, no matter what.
You just nodded. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. After Derek went back home, you decided to settle in for the night, stretching your arms over your head. You noticed that the living room and the phone were free. You took it easy. Let's call Lee. You picked up the receiver. Lee! Lee, I gotta confess too! And quickly punched in the familiar number while going to take a seat on the couch. Soon enough, after explaining the situation to the housekeeper, Lee answered.
Hi, Lee, can you talk? Totally, we practically have to. Oh my gosh, can you believe it's almost time for school to start? What happened to our summer? School starts first thing tomorrow for me. I thought starting next week was bad enough. Enjoy your last week. Oh, I will. I hope you'll survive your first day. Me too, I need a good year. Ditto. And at least summer was nice while it lasted, right? We were busy. Yeah.
Fondly, you thought about all the best memories you made this summer. Lee was there for some, but there were still many you hadn't filled her in on yet. You reminisced about a moment of your summer. You moved on to talk about her. You began to speak. Wait, actually, no, go back. I want to talk about her.
What was your big highlight of the summer, Lee? Talking to you is always the best times of my summer.
Even though it was a phone call, you just knew that Lee was winking at you. You laughed, you shook your head. Come on, tell me. Good, I'm glad you picked up the right answer. That had Lee laughing hard for a few moments.
Alright, okay, so a high point for me was when I took the trip with my parents to Europe. That was amazing!
You and Lee continued to go over your adventures until you both were yawning to each other over the phone. At that, you decided it was time to say goodbye for now. You did have school to wake up for in the morning.
Bye, Lee. Bye. Good night, Bert. Talk to you later.
You left the phone on the side table for now. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw that there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed, so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your legs out on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You rearranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out the window. Startled initially, you spotted a figure out in the hills. It was Cove. Cove, what are you doing here? When the surprise faded, you realized it wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. You went outside to meet up with him. You left him alone. You smacked the window to get his attention. You opened the window. Cove, what are you doing up there? Happily, you got up and strolled over to the window. You opened it fully.
Hey, Cove!
Startled, Cove jumped and turned around to see you through the glass. He quickly realized he waved at you. Then you went out to talk to Emila. Strolling casually, you went over to the front door. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through the reached top of the hill. Cove turned towards you and you approached. Then you noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Hey. Smiling shyly, you stopped in front of him, your fingers nervously pulled at a loose string hanging off your shirt.
Hi, what are you doing here?
Nothing, not really. Not really. He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. You should go to sleep. I know how you feel. I feel good. I hope you feel better. Hope you feel better. His mouth pulled into a bent smile. He spoke so quietly that you almost missed it. I think I will. Cove let himself fall back to his butt and then all the way down. So he was laying on his back. He looked up into the sky. You laid down yourself, he said in the grass. You lowered yourself to lay back on the hill. He had been lost in thought, or was possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but he started speaking unprompted again. Thanks for telling me about my dad, and the money he offered you to be my friend. This was probably the last thing you were expecting out of him. Cove seemed to pick up on that and stretched his arms out wide in front of him. This is where we met, remember? It happened that day. You could recall the sad little boy with the pink cast who you found on this very spot. It felt like a lifetime ago. I kind of have a strange feeling looking at you. It's not in a bad way, just thinking about you then and really seeing you now. It's something. Please not another confession. Cove, no, we had to reject somebody today. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact he made on your life just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in the world where you hadn't met him. Cove glanced at you, waiting for a response, and he had no idea what to say. Then, so without a word from you, Cove shook his head strongly.
What?
It's you.
Huh?
He snickered before answering. He looked thoroughly amused with your reaction. That's what you do all this time. So I'm being you. What? What are you talking about? I'm confused. You do all that all the time too. So do you, Cove? You were stunned, and he nodded enough to take a note. I'm confused. I'm confused. That for silence? Is that what you're talking about? I don't do that much. Not being able to argue with this, so you felt bashful about you. Felt bashful. Feeling self-conscious, you glanced at the ground and felt a blush burn across your face. When you dared look back, you saw that Cove was smiling apologetically. Ah! He was trying to be mean with it. He wasn't trying to be mean with it. Honestly, there weren't many people you could think of who would tease you about something like that. Returning a smile, you realized there was no denying that you two had been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before it could fully settle. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you then.
With a final wave, Cove headed for home, but you stayed for a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to the simple statement, see you tomorrow. No matter how much it was changing around you, there were some things in your life that would always seem to remain true. The hills felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your bed. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with thoughts about the future. You felt excited, nervous. Every bit of you, your gut, felt like it was being turned into a pretzel. A new chapter of your life was about to begin, and you were worried, but now, what new changes were waiting for you? Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. Yay! And with step 2, in between. Oh, okay. You know, I want to change my eyes to green. Can I do that? What? Oh, I can't? Oh, no, I can't? No way. This is the same with my hair. No, I can change it. I just can't change my eye color, bruh. Okay, but what do I want to change my hair now? Be Miku. Let's do this. Okay. All of them, all scars. And then everywhere. Ring. Oh, what ring? Jewel, jewels, pattern, plain. Plain. Headscarf. Actually, no, let's do none. Nail color. Green. It's a green. Nail length. Short. Headscarf. No, nose ring. Nah, I don't remember his ring. Okay, we're done. Nervous? Let's do crush. Fun. From indifferent to crush, I just, like, jumped a full length right now.
Oh, we have a crush on him, oh my gosh.
Begin step 3 at nervous crush, yes. Personality, Cove customization. What does he look like now? Oh, I don't, I don't like that hair. Oh, size. I like that one. Maybe let's just do the normal Cove thing. Glasses, earrings. Wait, I kind of like that though. I kind of like that. I kind of like it. Can't see his earrings. I'll just do that. Okay. Wait. Can we do a shirt pattern, or is that the only one? Ooh, no. Ew. No, he's first. I guess it's fine already. Maybe let's just stick with that. His necklace. Wait, I like the shark tooth necklace. Do you have one? No. Let's put this. I kind of like that. I kind of like that hair. Do that. Let's do this. Cove creator. Pajamas. No. Oh, maybe we can bring it down. Let's do this. His hair is longer, technically. That's the only one. I kind of don't like these. I kind of don't like the shirt. Let's see. Let me drink some water. Probably longer compared to this, though. Yeah. Maybe we'll just keep it consistent. I don't like that. I don't like it, though. Oh, whatever. Let's just leave it. Okay. What the heck? Okay. I don't really care. Oh, formal. Ooh, is there gonna be a prom? There's probably gonna be a prom. It's probably gonna be a prom. Maybe this. Yeah, sure. I don't think, yeah. I don't like, yeah, let's go. Since you're romantically interested in Cove and are old enough to start being physically affectionate, more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has throughout this step. Making sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So we've added some flexibility in how it works out. Low initiative means that Cove will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in those situations, there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss the MC as a greeting or in an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will be either initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Oh, either initiated or approved. Okay, so we're supposed to be given the choice first, I believe. Null initiative means that there will be those certain times when Cove requests to touch the MC, many chances to initiate the affection on your own, and also he will pretty regularly give affection automatically. An example would be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy or emotional or something like else. Well, and in the other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Cove the space to be the one to act afterwards. Oh, overall, the love interest can begin romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything Middle does, but it also means the player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having Cove give physically affection even more frequently and with less prompting, instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on. Some will instead be replaced by Cove acting automatically. This level is not only recommended for you are very comfortable with physical affection and would prefer to simply see it happen rather than always holding your brains on it. However, this level is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Situations where high level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. The parts that are also included in the middle initiative which will be seen whether you're dating or not. Once you pick up your level, it can't be changed part ways through a step. The choice only comes up at the very beginning of a story section. We hope you enjoy whichever initiative option you decide on. Can I save? Let's do, okay. This is a high jump. But we're gonna go with high initiative. Oh wait, does that mean we're dating already? Like, it's gonna say that, oh, we're dating now. Maybe I should have done middle initiative so I can be like, there would be more tension of will they, won't they. The start of classes and then the relaxed free stays of summer, it didn't take long for you to get back in the swing of the school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much. With school and after school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take a trip out to your neighborhood. Sometimes you'd hear that he was at a training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. But you still kept in touch over the phone as best as you can. The Jeremy kid did disappear after the summer and no one ever heard from him again. Where he went or what he might have been up to was a mystery. Where summers came and went like the waves on the shore coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunset Word, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend of Cove and made due to them both being ocean obsessed. Terry was more than glad to befriend you two. Someone close to Cove had to be good company. She felt you were pleased to get along with her as well. Terry was tied with another girl who you had known distantly from school for a long time, Miranda Eckert. She saw more and more out of her as time went on, thanks to Terry and Miranda's own outreach, and for a while, all of you developed a real friendship together. As for your home life, and Ernie's also had developments. Changing laws and public perception countrywide made it possible for your moms to openly wear their wedding rings without a question. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the US. That was a good idea, to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She no longer worried about perceived childishness, and she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, although most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. Cove's relationships with his family improved over the years. Kyra visited several times over the summer, and things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before, and you knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. Cove had become so much more outgoing than when you had first met him. He was so bright he shone. He would willingly join conversations, make jokes, and put in an effort not to use overly blunt phrasing. Obviously, he's kind of changed. Cove's interest had shifted from when he was younger. He still enjoyed more studious pursuits, but he also spent just as much time on athletic activities. Things had drastically changed between you. Oh, matured affection. Okay. Changed between you and Cove. No longer were the days where Cove was just your neighbor, someone talked to only when necessary or convenient. Somewhere along the way, you began to feel for him. He had a natural and important place in your life regardless of where he lived. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then it was simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life couldn't last forever. You felt that the most poignantly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over, and you would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You would be directing your own life. That was where you were currently. The summer after school had ended, the first summer of true freedom. What used to be a reprieve from typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. One fine summer morning, you took in what had become a very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Hold on, I'll be right back, like, really quickly. Kind of not as my PNG's cover is kind of blocking some of the stuff. I'm hoping this is fine now. Okay. One fine summer morning. Okay. Oh, she looks so pretty. Your big sister Liz still hadn't lived at home full time for a couple years, but she arrived last week to spend the season, or since it was an official off semester for her. She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school, so who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future. You watched on as Liz laughed good-naturedly over a comment Ma made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had only been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcomed at this point in her life. Strangely, even though she'd moved away, you'd lately felt closer to her than you had in a long time. You idly scooped up more of her breakfast, which you absent-mindedly. No vegetarian, proletarian, ate whatever. And the meal you had reflected that it included just about everything your moms had made, though you often made your own food nowadays. With Liz around, though, your parents made even more options than usual. Your sister had become a vegetarian for a while, and they wanted to make sure she had choices too. Oh my gosh, you're old! Conversation had gone on idly, without you fully taking the words until your eyes were peaked when Ma started on a bit of town gossip.
And so that's how I heard the news.
Alright, now stop bearing the lead and tell us, what is this so-called news?
Ma giggled as she cast a long across the table, satisfied that she had everyone's attention.
Well, it turns out that the Donalds will be renting out the condo by the street at our Sunset Birch Edition for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades.
A chorus of gasps, shock, and expressions were made all around. After the initial shock, her eyebrows pinched. Ma may consider them by name, but you and Liz always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at anyone under 25 who crossed their paths. Your ma continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did.
They've decided not to take big trips anymore. Friends and families will be visiting them at their home.
It's not nice for them, then. Have a good summer, mean grandparents with no grandkids, away from us.
That's a relief. It's kind of sad that they can't travel anymore. I hope they're still okay, even if they're... That my thoughts exactly, Liz. Finally, they can... My thoughts exactly. Be nice, kids. You don't want to end up like them, do you? You and your sister cracked smiles at the joke.
At least they won't be here until you here to yell at my children anymore.
Bloody. And that blunt comment got laughter from all three of you. Engrossed in conversation once more, you continued to chat with your family until the meal was over. Oh. Step 3, third time's the charm. As it went, once the food was eaten, the cleanup had to be done. Liz took the role of washing the dishes and passed them to you for drying and putting away. You had a set of cups in front of you that needed to go on the top shelf of the cabinets. It was effortless to do, and you were very tall. The task was pretty straightforward for you. You had to stretch it, but it was doable. It was a struggle to get them up without a stepping stool. The stepping stool was meant for you. You're short, or average height. That was simply your lot in life. You'd always hovered over the expected height for your age. You felt great about things where you hoped that you might still grow more. I'm fine with that. I'm content. You used to not like your height when you were younger, but you'd come into your own about it over the years. Liz shook you out of internal musing by starting up an impromptu conversation. She seemed to be voicing the thoughts that had been buzzing around in her own head.
I have to say, going back for another semester this fall is pretty intimidating. You'd think after the first year or two I'd have a handle on things, but no.
You stole a glance at her, still placing cuffs in the proper place.
I guess it's only fair, my first round was pretty general classes, and year one of my architecture major has the basics. I'd feel serious. I had to actually know some things.
The laugh she gave me was a flippantly airy, but the way she scrubbed at the plates held more force than necessary. You know, you can handle it. I think it's really cool you wanted to be an architect. I think it's pretty cool. Or maybe less. There wasn't much you could add to it. Your older sister's mouth quirked into a small smile.
I'll be fine, one way or another. Oh, but I'm not trying to scare you away from college. It's not even your plan. What's going on with that anyway?
You have had the solid plan set for a long time. You came to a firm conclusion recently. You had a general idea, an absolute idea. You hadn't even let yourself think about it. It was too much. How do I want to be like around here? We had no idea. You answered the question as much as you were able to to Liz's smile. Liz's smile grew up more reassuring as you did.
You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. You've got plenty going for you.
Sometimes it still felt hard to believe that your public schooling experience was over in the end. You had graduated at the top of your class, you sorted through my hard marks, you had to work extremely hard, but you were rewarded with great grades. Let's do this. You were going to miss it. You were satisfied leaving off there. You wish you could have been better. Good, sure. You achieved a lot and could talk about what you learned with you moving it forward. Liz picked up on the silence. Her question echo ended up creating. She decided it was time to make a close statement on the topic.
You're a good girl, Bert. Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back it up.
Oh. Thank you. At that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved a soapy-soaked hand as a farewell and moved on to her next task for the cleanup job. You fully focused on getting the last piece, but put back where they belonged. You eventually moved on to another chore, but this was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. It was the phone's default ringtone. You had a silly novelty phone ringtone. So You casually picked up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. They decided which model to get, but you got to pick the color. It was green. And it was just a phone. You didn't do anything to decorate. It was a special charm attached to it, which was Lake of the Voices, a crystal, a lantern. Oh, Lake of Voices. What is that? Is that like another game? It's Shark Keychain Cove. Oh wait, no, I like the shark. Oh, the shark's pretty cool. You were pleased when you finally had a prominent place to see use the gift. Wait, Lake of Voices? Wait, is that an actual like a visual novel game? I'm gonna look that up. Lake of Voices. Oh, it is a VN. By GB Patch. Oh, wait, I've seen this. I want to actually play this one time later in the future. I've seen this visual novel before. I'm assuming it's the same. Yeah, GB Patch Games. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about because I've actually wanting to play that later. Yeah. The screen lit up as he gave the little device a swipe with one finger. You were informed by caller ID that it was Lee. You weren't surprised. Despite being busier and busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with your cousin at the same age, especially once the miracle of the both of you having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first though. Tapping at the accent button, you answered her call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after.
Hey, Bird!
Maybe I'm gonna stick with the voice I gave her last time. Hi.
Hi, Lee.
I trust I'm not interrupting anything major?
She also looks really pretty. I'm gonna change Bert's voice though. Only some cleaning around the house.
Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction from that must have been desperately needed.
Yes, thank you for your cousin. Hey, I love your doing chores. I like cleaning. You it's good to hear from you, even though she couldn't see it. It's thank you, my dear cousin. She giggled, and you could hear the jingling of the jewelry she must be wearing.
Nothing amazing is happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. My morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo!
That's good. You were off from the part-time job today. You hadn't started working anywhere yet. Oh, let's have a part-time job. Like you, Lee had started dipping her toes at the workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed.
What about you?
It's pretty normal.
Cool, that's you then. So, how's Mr. Coveholden doing?
There was a teasing bent to her tone. She was never willing to let up on what was going on between the two of you. But the name was incredibly familiar to your ears. Cove, your next door neighbor, was the past decade at this point. The two of you were close. This was all you can think of. He was your best friend. At least you hadn't admitted you felt more than just that. He was a very important friend, but you secretly hoped he'll tell you he felt more than that. He was someone you had an affection for, but you didn't want to take the relationship further. But he was far more than just someone who... He was your boy... Oh, I can say he's our boyfriend! I'm gonna have like tension, will they, won't they? He's an important friend. Cove was very special to you. You could only dream that it was mutual. You could only dream that it was mutual. You knew you wouldn't be able to tell him that, though. Maybe he would take the plunge.
Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right with the world back again and he's back?
No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday, or the last time you asked, or the time before that.
Sorry.
Oh, my bad. Can you blame me? Doesn't he seem like he should have made the key's grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon, and he needs to be there too.
You could understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple of months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. The two of you still regularly stayed in contact over texts and calls, but still, your mind began to drift back in time to all the prior trips he'd taken to visit her. Almost every year, he'd simply be gone for a while, and then he'd be back. It wasn't something you minded or noticed much usually. That changed since the two of you had gotten closer and you thought on it a lot. You kind of wished he had cared more when growing up. That's how it was in the past, but lately he had been trying to see her as much as he could before talking long trips to another state became too impractical to do. His part-time work could become full-time soon, or he could be moving somewhere else for school. Cove hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. Cove was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever, though you both knew that.
Well,
Maybe we should switch this up to non-Cove related topic?
Yeah. The rest of the conversation rolled on. Not much longer, though Lee had to go and needed to finish your responsibilities around the house. Both of you exchanged goodbyes, then you went back to what you'd been working on before the call came in. I love her hat, dude. Why does she look evil? As you wrapped on the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile.
I've got mom's keys. Wanna get out of this tiny town to do some shopping in the real city?
I can do that if you wanted me to come.
good.
Good, I'm driving.
It was obvious you didn't know how to drive. You were glad for that. You still just had a learner's permit. Even though you could drive too, it was her plan. It was nice for you to do that. You had a license, but tried to avoid her do this. Wait, go back. This one. Yes.
Go get your wallet and anything else. We're going now.
With a nod, you made a quick detour to collect your stuff from your bedroom. You had money saved up from all the part-time work you'd done, as well as giving from gifts you'd received. After making sure you both are fully prepared for the long haul to the largest city in the surrounding area, you buckled into the car. It was a smooth ride there, the light conversation about what shops to stop at the radio blasting. The trip there breezed by, and it was what felt like no time you had gone from cruising down the road to cruising through the mall. Liz had her interests to check out, and you yours. Your hobbies and skills were still the ones you developed from when you were younger. Yeah. When turning a corner down the new length of the mall, your eyes caught on a little gift store. Your friends and family had recently given you many presents for graduating high school. You realized you wanted to give a graduation gift from yourself to Cove. You had a gift of your own ready to give to Cove from the chance gotten into this. It was something you had known you wanted to do, and you were looking forward to seeing his reaction. Actually, I've just kind of thought of this. I wonder if our relationship with Liz could have changed differently in the story. Like, yeah, we have a good relationship now when we're grown up, but I wonder if I did some other choices in the past. I wonder if I wouldn't have the same relationship I have with her now. I wouldn't be she wouldn't drive me to the mall. Maybe something else would have happened. I wonder if it would have been a lot we weren't really that close when we got older, and she wouldn't really smile or talk to me that much. Graduation may have already come and gone, but Cove's wasn't really around, so you had to wait. Eventually, the mall was explored in fully, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decide to walk over to some smaller stores nearby. Liz had many thoughts on that topic.
Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even if smaller stores require extra distance, the brands are so much more.
Then your sister Bubbly stopped speaking and walking right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing no one was right behind her. She seemed to entirely shut off for a moment. Liz? An attempt to catch your attention wasn't successful. Something else had all of her focus. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out of the corner of her mouth.
Bert, don't draw attention, but look.
What? The harsh whisper and a subtle jerk of her head, she urged you once more.
Hey.
Look!
You followed her gaze as best as you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path. Okay. You faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What were you supposed to be seeing there?
Bert, doesn't one of them seem familiar?
She was practically bouncing at this point, so you look at the group over again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. Oh! Bro, we have not seen them in a while. What the heck? I kind of don't like his color pattern here. I kind of don't like it, but amongst the collection of strangers was brown hair, gray eyes, and lots of freckles.
That's Shiloh, our Shiloh, from when we were kids.
Yep, that was definitely him.
I can't believe it. He's honestly just there. That's hilarious. That's incredible. Oh, but how do we talk to him? We'd have to pull away from him, all those other people. What if I'm wrong?
Her mouth opened to reply, but she cut it off with her own answer to the question.
I've got it. I'll shout the name Shiloh and then we can act like it wasn't us. If he responds to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. Bert, keep an eye out to see if he looks.
Liz, can't you just try talking to him normally? We are not doing that. It's a terrible plan. Why do I have to be the one watches? Why can't you just talk to him normally? Likely without even hearing what you had to say, Liz put her plan into action.
Shiloh!
She loudly projected the word across the way and then put on an act of casualness, turning her head away from the scene while brushing at the skirt of her dress. I need to drink some water. Okay. My throat's kind of dry. In a supremely awkward moment, you can only stand there as the tension in the area shifted to the two of you thanks to your sister's shout. But of the many startled bystanders who became altered to your presence, one of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. He looked. A wide grin took over Elizabeth's face. She pushed the rim of her sun hat up and away from her face while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly.
Shiloh!
Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her attention to meet without really closing the gap. She wanted to come to her. She wanted him to come to her. Who had you presumed to be Shiloh looked surprised at the call out. He stole a quick glance at the crowd he was with, hesitantly glanced back to your way. He was trying to double check something. Liz remained steadfast with your gaze trained on him, and ultimately, he broke away from the rest of them. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you. Oh, hi, I like your hat. Just that simple greeting had Liz giggling.
Hello, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie, and that's Bird. We were all friends when we were little kids.
His already wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze starting in between you and Liz. His previously chipper demeanor faded into something delicate. I'm sorry, but I think you have the wrong person. Oh, is he lying? Bruh. You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make his exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred.
It was a long time ago. You were really young. I get why you feel like that. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. That face, the freckles, how gently you try to phrase things. You're still even wearing a hat.
Instinctively, he looked up at the hairdwear, increased brows, not making the connection on why the hat meant something to her.
Okay.
We need each other, okay?
An uneasy smile settled on him as the silence followed Liz's speech. He was picking his next words carefully. He's like, I don't know who these strangers are. Why are they, like, talking to me? Okay. And the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. Shiloh, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. The field trip is not a vacation. We are on the schedule. Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. He carried a cloud of authority with him, despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet. Sorry, I didn't mean to ditch. Shiloh, whose name was now officially confirmed, gestured with a hand to add explanations of his absence as the stranger watched him patiently. They thought they'd recognize me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Liz, theoretically as well, was literally put her foot down at that, stomping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion.
Come on.
We do know you.
Shiloh merely shook on himself. The tone he spoke was pain. I think he just seems pretty embarrassed right now. Sorry. He honestly couldn't tell if he was apologizing for the upset feelings of your sister or the palpable dissatisfaction of his new acquaintance. That in itself was very Shiloh-like. Oh, you know him? Is that it? The stranger spoke in a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him it was almost amusing. Almost. The sternness of his demeanor quickly reinstated himself. Well, do you know me? I'll tell you, I'm someone who has been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Shiloh's ridiculous personal life for a year. Bro, why are you so mean? And the two of you had an importance in his general day-to-day existence. It would have come up by now. Don't bother trying to exaggerate any trivial connection you might have. It's not good enough. He's with us and you'll survive without him. Now stop loitering in the road. It's rude.
Excuse me? We're the rude ones?
The high-strung ranting got an audible gasp from Shiloh, who finally started to speak up against in defense. Nate, that's really mean. It's also true we're leaving. With the declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Shiloh would follow behind. Oh, people can sure have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try to get along? It's not hard. Don't worry, though. I bet you won't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay to talk to you, but I hope you have a really nice life. Bye! Bye. And that was his final parting words given. Shiloh left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life, and he had to go live. Is he lying? He probably is lying, though. Liz watched his exit, stunned, only to frown when it hurt her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast you hadn't even been able to get in a word. She sighed, all the energy she built up releasing with the breath.
I could have told him his last name was Fields, his birthday is October 30th. That would have proved it, but no!
Sorry, Liz. Wow, Shiloh grew up to be dumb. Wow, that's mean. Your laugh feel like whoever needed. Yes, he sucks. Damn, you could. I wouldn't laugh. That could have been a nice moment, and instead it was disappointing. Aren't you gonna go after him? Liz merely shook her head, pushing off childish thoughts.
I think we can leave it here, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip and was already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there, enjoying his own part of the light world. Oh, if given the chance, I could definitely have a few words with him about the company he's got.
She laughed, but you could tell there wasn't much humor in it. She was mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Shiloh go. Maybe they're only with each other because of the trip, and it's not usually how things are.
True, we can only hope that the same will for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Shiloh.
Damn, is that it of Shiloh? That's kind of disappointing, yeah. It is disappointing. Look at that. Liz smiled at you. It was the self-confidence you knew so well for her.
Come on, little baby sister. Let's finish our own trip.
Yeah. It kind of sucks if that's the last of Shiloh, though. That really sucks. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed who had remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arched your back as you stretched your arms toward the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had enough activity to cover an entire week. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You weren't the only one feeling worn out.
I'll be heading to your room. I mean, the guest room. Since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out of the door.
Her tone was light. She'd had quite a lot to say on the subject when you'd first taken over her bigger room after she left for college, but there have been many trips back home for her since then. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring the topic up to this day. Let it go, Liz. I didn't see your name on it. Thank you, Liz. It's a really nice room. Thanks for being so gracious about giving it up. Thank you for being so gracious.
I had no choice.
Small laugh was shared between you and your older sister.
You better believe you'll be back in that guest room when you've got your own place and we're both in town for a visit.
We can take turns. You'll have Thanksgiving. I'll get Christmas.
What a reasonable and mature suggestion. I'll think about accepting it.
She flashed her familiar grin, and you couldn't help but feel glad that she was back around, even if it was temporary. With that, you plodded off to the spare room. You were all ready to do the same. Moving into this new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. Design your room. Oh, wow, okay. Green. That's not green. You mean the bed? Oh, wait, no, like, yeah, that looks nice. Yes, the bed. Extras. Oh, I don't have extras? Okay. Left. Great. Okay, let's do that. Left. Back. Great. Lights. I like the lights. I don't like that there. Ooh, I like the shark though. But I like the lights. I like the lights. Let's do that. We go. What's that? I kinda like this. Oh, I like that seashell set. You're really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part of the world. As your thoughts drifted, you tried to write down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed was now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing on it. You trudged up the stairs to your room. Stepping inside, you closed the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turned back around, you realized you were not alone there. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was someone very familiar to you. Wait, what the fuck? How did you end up? Wait, how did you get to my room without anyone noticing? Cove, that's scary. How did you get in here? What the hell? How are you here? Surprise? His tone was easy and relaxed. It certainly was a surprise. You hadn't expected him to be in the state. Never mind your own house. He hadn't answered how he had suddenly just appeared back in Sunset Bird, though, to be fair, he had been so astounded there hadn't been much of an opportunity for him to chat with you. Thankfully, Cove was only waiting for a good moment to start and began to explain.
So...
I got in about 15 minutes ago. No one was home, so I figured I'd come in. No, dude, that's kind of. No one was there to see. I guess they're so used to Cove getting into the house. They're like, it's fine. For reasons only known to him, ever since the two of you had begun to get closer, he'd skip through the door and would scale the side of your house to get into the window instead. What? Okay, I guess that's fine. A small smile had formed on his face. You were still staring at him, unable to blink in case he disappeared. You could still barely believe that he was really there, mere feet away from him. I left my bags in your backyard. I hope that's alright. Bro, you should probably get them. That was when you truly understood. Cove had come straight to you upon getting back to town. You're his first port of call, taking precedence above all else. Even though you hadn't been in when he called, Cove had ensured that he'd still see you at the earliest opportunity rather than allowing his plans to change. Uh-oh. 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 Okay. Yeah. Oh, wait. You typed it wrong. Okay. Oh, finally the message is gone. Usually they don't delete the messages when after I do a ban, but now it's actually like gone. Okay. You laugh, your realization made you bashful. Wait, see frozen. Wait, melt or bashful? Melt away. Your eyes were straining from the effort of remaining wide open. You finally gave in, letting your eyelids close and flash up open again. He was still there. Cove dropped from his seat on the windowsill, landing lightly on his feet. He made his way over to you, the smile still resting on his face. You're too crazy. I'm so glad you're here. I missed you. Trouble's back in town. I can't believe in my eyes. You're crazy, dude. He ruffled his hair. You jovially punched him on the arm. You wrapped him in a gentle embrace, jumped into his arms, smiled at him. Smiled. Why does he look shorter? Does he look shorter? No, okay, maybe that's just me. Smiled, fueled Cove's own, brightening him up even further. Being the focus on your joy and attention made a blush bloom on his skin, like flowers blossoming in spring. I missed you. Even if he hadn't said it outright, you could have gotten the message from his body language. Cove was grinning widely, his raised cheeks bearing his eyes, which gleamed like hidden gems. But he looked at you as if you were the most exciting treasure of all. Was it a good trip? Yeah, I had a great time. Cove told you about how his trip back had gone. His mom was doing really well. She had a project in the works that she was thrilled about. As a result, Cove was going to be sticking around in Sunset Bird for the time being. Things were settled as much as they ever could be. With Cove back once more, you felt at ease. Oh, wait, city. I've never seen like the city out there before. I thought we were like in a rural area. Huh. Cove stretched his arms out over his head, his eyes on the window and the world beyond. The sun had set while you'd been busy reuniting.
Well,
I should probably get my stuff and see Dad. He glanced over to you with a familiar expectant look. Wanna come with me? No, I do. No, but I'll walk you down to the shore. You can go out for a while.
cool.
Cove began to head to the bedroom door. You followed him after him. That's cute! Wait, that's cute! That's cute! Piggyback ride! It's a special occasion. It was a normal thing in your relationship. Special occasion. Bruh, that's cute though. That's cute. You quietly cleared your throat, making Cove turn around. This request was so common after all you needed to do was to gesture vaguely for him to start getting the hints. Cove shook his head, the smile on his face implying that it was you, and your senses he was questioning on the request. He'd come to expect the latter even if he didn't get what it held such appeal for you. He crouched long enough for you to hop on his back. Cove was so tall that getting on his back for rides had taken some trial and error over the years with a few mishaps and bumps along the way. Eventually, he figured out exactly how far he needed to bend down. This understanding and your extensive practice made it easy for you to climb aboard the Cove Express now. Aboard. Cove straightened up and with poise, accustomed to balancing someone over his shoulders. Cove carried you down the stairs. You had to duck down a couple of times, the ceiling grazing against your elevated head. Still, you safely reached the ground floor of your house. The door is gonna be in the way. Get off here so I can open it up. He bent down to let you slide sleepily off his back. Seeing things from your visual height was disorienting after getting accustomed to looking down at everything. In all excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you'd prepared for when he got back. It would be best to give it to him now before he left your house. Can you wait here for a little while? I got something for you. Cove's eyes widened as he tried to conceal a smile. He toyed with the collar of his own top. I mean, you didn't have to do that. You nodded with some eagerness, trying to ignore how he'd react when he actually saw it. You bought Cove something special. The gift you chosen hadn't something you could buy. Something special. It was? Dolphin shape. No, not dolphin! A fruit bouquet. Ooh, a fruit bouquet, you know? A fish or... no fish, actually I like the fish. His name will be Cove, too! You headed back up to your room, grateful that Cove hadn't spotted your present before now. The little container that was temporary home for his new fish was waiting there for you. Just as you'd left it, very carefully, you cradled it in your arms to make the journey downstairs. You slowly descended the stairs, adjusting your grasp when you reached the ground floor so you could hold it out before you for Cove to admire. Cove gasped, placing a hand over his mouth, and bent down to watch the fish more closely. You could see his expression through the clear container, his eyes wide and adoring. It'd be funny if, no, actually messed up if we, ran. But that would hurt the fish, though. That would be, so... The poor fish, though, just running down the stairs, and the fish is like, ah! Why is he running? And, the water is just, kind of going everywhere because we're running, and the fish is scared. You let Cove take his time admiring the fish in silence. A few moments later, after he'd taken his fill, he looked up at you with a joyful grin. She'll fit in perfectly with my tank. She looks great. He took the container from you, curing the base first and cautiously lifting it from your hands before resting it beside him on the counter. He brushed his fingers lightly against the top of the container, the closest he could get to petting his new companion, then turned back to you. Cove turned to look at the fish. He thought he was just admiring her again, but as the moment stretched out, you wondered if it was something more. Though his face was angled away from you, you caught his eyelashes fluttering as if batting away tears. His throat bobbed as he swallowed the bubbling emotions. Oh, what's up, dude? You knew that Cove could be sentimental. The gift and all the memories and feelings tied up in it seemed to have taken a toll on him. When he began to sniffle, he felt the need to reach out. Cove? I can't. You just... Bert, I don't know what to do. What's up? He forcefully scrubbed at his eyes like he was trying to push the tears that threatened to spill back in. Cove, it's okay. Do you need to cry? No. Why? Nevertheless, tears had begun to spill down his cheeks, even as he wiped them away. More took their place. He just really likes fish. Thank you. His voice quavered as he spoke. Cove scooped you into a hug, pressing you so tightly against his chest that your breath escaped in a short squeak. He burrowed his face against his neck. He shed tears damp on your skin. You hugged him back. You're welcome, don't worry about it. You're such a crybaby, you didn't need to words. You were such a crybaby. Cove let out a steady breath. It was far removed from the shaky gasps that had accompanied his snuffles. The tears had dried. His eyes were a little red, but open and at peace once again. He smiled, fully recovered from the emotion that had overcome him. You're really seriously too nice to me. He smiled back. You're worth it. Cove brushed his hand against the pale ghost of a scar on his arm. He was at a loss for what to do now. The clock ticked away, counting the seconds of silence. Once you'd had a chance to settle your thoughts, you figured you'd tell Cove the intriguing news. I saw Shiloh today. Shiloh? Cove repeated the name, his expression blank. From when we were kids. Cove pondered for a moment, then snapped his fingers. Oh, he was the freckly boy from the first summer, right? The one who moved? Uh-huh, I met someone called Shiloh. He looked just like Shiloh from back then. Dude, that was actually Shiloh, though. He waved a hand, acknowledging the passing of time and so forth. Cove nodded understandingly. He didn't remember me, then he had to go. Cove frowned. That's, I don't know. Too bad I missed it. Oh, you knew him better than I did. That was definitely true. Not only had Cove known Shiloh for a shorter period of time, but he and Shiloh had never quite gotten along. Not that they were enemies either, just kids who were only ever together because of other people they both knew. I wonder what Shiloh's up to these days. I don't have any idea. He didn't say much. Oh, well. That was everything he had on the news item, so he moved on to the next big update. Also, you know, the mean older neighbors, the ones who always yell at us? He cringed, recalling those particular memories to back in the days was not pleasant even for someone as nostalgic as him. Yeah? And they're not coming, they didn't rent the condo this summer. Cove's jaws dropped. He didn't blame him, the elderly couple had been an institution for as far back as he could remember, long predating Cove's arrival. Even now, as a teenager, you found your neck pricking as you walked by their condo, half expecting a scolding for breathing the wrong way in the vicinity of their vacation home. It was strange to think of that coming to an end. Wow. Cove blinked, clearly struggling with the idea in the same way you had. I didn't see that coming. People being gone, people coming back. Feels like I've missed a lot. This has been a busy summer already.
Well, you haven't missed the fireflies. They haven't shown up yet.
Well, that's something, and we'd better not get left behind. There's still stuff to do. He nodded. As soon as you'd left your house, Cove bent down to let you climb back onto his back for the last part of the journey. It seemed that no sooner had the night begun than it was already at an end, and the dawn of a new day was soon upon you. The next morning, your belly was full of breakfast and you were in this pleasant mood. You hoped the rest of the day followed suit. Later, you were meeting up with your friends, Cove, Miranda, and Terry, to go into town. It was all on short notice, but that was because everyone was just so excited that Cove was finally back at home. Having a nice daydream? You blinked, pushing all your thoughts away and returning to reality. Your mom was watching you with a teasing smile. So, what's on the agenda today?
I'm meeting with some people.
Well, I hope you and your friends have fun. Don't go into too much trouble. She winked at you. You knew both of your moms wanted you to enjoy every bit of this summer before all the big changes started. I'll try. I'll try. But before you go gallivanting around the town, can you bring the mail in? I'm finishing up putting the dishes away for over here.
Alright.
Thanks for very much. Oh, yo, he still looks young. Dude, Mr. Harlan still looks pretty young, though. As soon as you were outside your front door, you couldn't help but see Cove and your dad standing around in the road. They noticed you, too.
Hey there, Bert!
Hi, good timing. You should come join us. High High five! Wait, who? Wait, Mr. Horlin or Cove? I'm gonna... Wait, who am I high-fiving? Oh, I'm high-fiving Cove. It would have been funny if I high-fived Mr. Holden. Biting his bottle a bit, Cove lightly slapped your hand. His blush deepened as your mouth curled into a grin. Yay, high five! You thought Sister Holden was talking to taking in the scene of you and Cove with a self-satisfied smile. Cove followed your line of sight and shot his dad an unimpressed look. For a moment, Mr. Holden seemed like he had a thought dancing on the tip of his tongue, but he decided to keep it to himself.
So what are you up to today?
You held up the envelopes in your hand. I was getting the mail, and we're meeting some friends in town in a while. He looked at Cove and nodded in agreement.
Sounds like a plan to me!
Yawning, Mr. Holden stretched his arms over his head.
My boy and I have just been waiting around to see what the new neighbors are like.
It was definitely his idea.
I don't know how you're not interested in this, it's a big news. Besides, it'd only be polite to greet the new folks in town.
Okay. Maybe it'll be a single dad and his son. You've been here too long if seeing a new person rent a condo is what you consider an exciting development. Yes, I'm dying to see the newcomers. Your response? Well, I know that's better than late to answer you. For several moments, Mr. Holden was unable to answer. He was laughing and slightly shaking his head.
You might be onto something.
Cove put a reassuring hand on his dad's shoulder.
Don't worry about it.
You can still make the most of your life before it's too late.
What?
How old do you think I am? I'm not that old, okay? Maybe I am.
You still look pretty young, though. Mr. Holden took one more glance at the currently vacant building and sighed dramatically when he turned back to you and Cove. His whole body seemed deflated.
There's no sign of them, and I still need to head over to work soon.
Cove gave his dad a few reassuring pats on the back. Okay, I promise to keep an eye out. I can text you if anything happens.
Really?
Of course.
Well, I mean, I only until I have to meet up with Terry and Miranda. Would that still work? With a wide grin breaking out in his face, Mr. Holden looked absolutely thrilled to have his noisiness enabled.
That works!
He moved to firmly place both hands over Cove's shoulder, fixing his child with a firm stare.
Son, you're my true ally in this world.
Mr. Holden stood up straighter, letting Cove go. He looked reinvigorated.
Okay, with that settled, I'll go get somebody. That's always been the one thing I do best.
Yeah, ever since the beginning of this game. Mr. Holden headed off to the garage with a big wave goodbye. Cove smiled the whole time you both watched his dad leave. Really like Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden was one of your favorite people. Cove's dad was kind of a bother. He was your favorite, but he's just so strange. He's one of my favorite characters because he's so strange. He always tried his best, and he was honestly just great. As soon as he was out of sight, Cove sighed lightly. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Just not looking forward to waiting. Guess I'll be heading around the street a while. Good luck, see you later. I'll stick around to see the new neighbor. I can't wait to... I thought I stayed to see the good neighbor and keep the company. Curiosity about the new tenant was getting the better of you, and you figured that the wait wouldn't be too much longer, and besides, you just couldn't leave Cove. Really? Of course, I like keeping you company, remember? He stared at you a moment, smiling softly and thinking about his response.
Sure.
Yes! Cove put his hands on your shoulders, gripping you solidly, but not enough to hurt. His eyes fixated on you just as firmly. He was serious. But you're my true ally in this world. Yeah, thank you. That got a fair amount of chuckles around you. He grinned, the stoicism fading into amusement.
Thank you.
You're always good to me. You're lucky to have me. It's no problem. I can't help myself. You shook your head. Your mouth pulled into a broad smile. You really weren't sure how to respond to that, and you could tell Cove was watching you carefully. The smile on his face reached his eyes, and it made you feel electric. And then he let go of you. Cove stepped over to his front porch steps, lazily taking a seat and leaning back on his arms. Our watch begins. Nodding in agreement, you joined Cove on the front porch steps. You both sat there in a comfortable familiarity as he settled in for a waiting game on the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet and you sighed, contentedly closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car. A taxi followed the noise, turning onto your street. Cove's eyebrows raised at the sight, and he sat up straight on the stoop.
Oh?
This has to be them, right? I hope so. Now that they were here, you couldn't help but feel just a bit curious. You wondered what kind of person would be willing in the neighborhood for the summer. The taxi pulled to a stop as you expected in front of the new empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting too sweet, Cove tried leaning and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger door as it opened. The single occupant exited the cab. Huh? You could feel that Cove was in the moment. After the last renters, this new visitor was definitely not exactly what you'd expected. Who the fuck are you? Like, who is this? It was a young man, had to be close to your own age, was dressed fully in an eclectic blank white and grey outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the scheme. The only other pop of color was from something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission, a pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors. The smile already promised on his face curled further. He was cocky, but you didn't get the impression it meant something adverse. Hallelujah! You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. Color-coordinated man left it there. However, it was with a firm click. He shut the door into his ride. Then he turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. When it opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped in front of them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands, and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around the corner. The new renter had officially arrived. Who are you? You look like a teenage boy. You left his suitcase on the ground out of the way of the street and has sauntered over your way with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Cole finally stood up to greet this person. You followed suit.
Excellent.
Baxter Ward, okay.
I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet your neighbors.
You were standing on the side as he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he offered his hand to you first. You shook it, you offered a low five. You held your arms open to offer her. Baxter returned his hand to his side and instead smiled politely at you. I'm Bert. Hello, it's nice to meet you too.
Hey Bert, I'm quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends.
Is he like on the rifle or something? What's going on? From your other side, Cove made the sudden sputtering noise.
And you are?
He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Cove shook his head and, still eyeing Baxter carefully. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lit up. For unknown reasons, his eyes shone as he studied Cove a moment.
Really?
Oh, his voice is deep. Okay, I didn't expect his voice to be deep.
No, wait, is that a nickname or your real name?
It's my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past. But it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh.
Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name of a face I'm seeing. Cove, that's gorgeous.
What? It's not. That's really not. Why? No, I agree. It suits you. Hey, only I get to fluster him. It's a lot considering you're talking to a stranger. You didn't know what to say. After a noticeable pause, Baxter caught on that he made you both uncomfortable. What if he's our rival? Dang it! He's going after Cove.
I'm sorry, it wasn't intended to mean more than I did. It did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patiently against stepping on anyone's toes.
He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden in those words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter didn't even open his eyes to see your faces to know he had some filling to do. He stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet.
I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing.
I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool.
It's not hard once you get the basics down.
Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Wow.
He grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you.
If either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available.
Cove frowned at the overt forwardness. Thanks. I'll pass, I think. I'll take you up on some offer, something I'd or not. I could probably show you some moves. You didn't answer the question. Baxter nodded understandingly and let the subject go. After that, there was a lull in conversation and Cove attempted to fill it.
So...
What made you decide on Sunset Bird?
Oh yes, well my parents rented a condo, so I had to place it to stay while I'm off for a semester from college and not living in the dorms.
There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued.
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but luckily for me, they picked the whole straight, considering the two of you live here.
Cove was practically reeling over how Baxter found a way to fit comments like that into every single topic thus far. Why do you keep doing that? You don't know us, but you talk like you already do. Cove spoke, firm yet genuinely confused, and Baxter smiled cautiously.
I don't feel that need to keep words of praise to myself, and when I say something, I mean it.
See?
Plus, what's the point of spending my off semester alone? The best part of being somewhere new is getting to interact with new people. Am I honestly the first person to acknowledge you're attractive and intriguing people? Sure, you're hidden away in the tiny tourist trap, but still.
Baxter crossed his arms. After studying your faces a few more seconds, he decided to continue.
Am I only trying to score a hookup or get a romantic fling started by saying those things? No, that isn't the point of speaking all of others. I was raised better than that. No, I'd be fussed if that's what my words led to. Also, no. I am flexible, not a surprise, I can back off with the lines if you don't like the attention, but I would like to be friends if we can. Cove wasn't sure how to respond. He glanced at you and he continued to look at your face when he spoke.
Thanks for answering, but I'm not interested in any of that with you. Maybe not the front thing, but the other parts. It doesn't bother me. I'd appreciate if you didn't do that with me. I'm finding it pretty entertaining, or you probably know. You sit there unsure how to react. Baxter looked at you and smiled apologetically.
I'll keep that in mind.
Shifting his weight to his own foot, Baxter tried to move forward.
Since you were already both already out there here, did my arrival interrupt anything?
Definitely not. He smiled and silently agreed. You laughed in a spiritual way. Doing nervously, you told Baxter that you were both waiting to see. Laughed. Baxter looked at you curiously. He didn't understand your response, but he chose not to question it and smiled politely instead.
Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer, but we can save the schedule talk for later. I should get my things inside.
He gave a small nod of the head and flashed you both a dazzling smile.
Goodbye for today.
Bye. Cove gave a small wave as well. Bye. Baxter then turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath.
Well,
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad. You burst into a fit of laughter, trying to ignore the conversation. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor and now we can go meet with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. We were looking forward to seeing more of him. You thought he was charming, you were not interested in him, you weren't sure how to feel. You thought he was a pretty good bad impression. You said he definitely wasn't someone you liked. You weren't sure how to feel with him. Honestly, you didn't know if you would ever come to a conclusion about him. Baxter was just so different. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. Let's go! A little while later, you and Cove reached the main street of town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. Oh, what's wrong? I think I heard my phone. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfied grin. There wasn't a message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side as you carefully looked at your old keychain. Whoa! I can't believe you still have that. I love sharks! I love sharks! Of course I do, I love it. You shouldn't be surprised. Well, someone was crazy enough to get it for me. I feel a blush. You weren't expecting him to remark on the keychain today. He knew you still had it. You watched him study it, smiling warmly. He must have been remembering the day he bought it for you.
It's nice.
I'm actually glad you like it. He looked back at you with a playful grin, especially since it cost me a whole $6. That's like $30 on kid money. His matter-of-fact tone had you laughing deep. You couldn't face him without starting all over again. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda, and all you saw was, "I can see you." Where is she? Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. I see you looking. Where are you? Haha, come on. Really, Randy? Really, Randy? Who's Randy? The messages was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement, familiar faces. But they were still invisible. Cove looked at you, carefully raising the eyebrow. Miranda, come on out. You cited the ridiculousness. You burst into laughter and text. You sent your own joking text. If you want to keep hiding, Cove and I can go do our own stuff without you. Is that what you decided on? You smirked, hitting send on the message. Cove looked at you, curious, raising an eyebrow. Oh, what's happening? Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the streets. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming up from behind the backs and wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Cove took a step in their direction, grinning. He put his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. Hey! Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped, only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty streets. Oh, she looks cute! Oh god, what advice should I give her though?
Hi, I hope you weren't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
Frick, I don't know what to give their voices. I feel like I'm running out of voices here. Frick. Hey, buddies? Hi. I'll probably improvise later. Hi. That joke was not funny. They look so cute, though. I'm amazed how you did appear out of nowhere like that. I'm so happy to see you, too. Glad you both knew. How did you appear out of nowhere like that? They started googling again. Terry glanced at Miranda, wondering what their story should be.
It was magic.
Just in a vaguely whimsical manner, Terry went along with the decision.
And magicians never reveal their secrets. Ooh.
That's fair. Terry then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug.
You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you so long?
He did his best to eke out in a reply with his chest out being pressed.
Sorry.
Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile, but Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifting her weight to her own other hip, she watched Cove patiently with a bashful smile.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either. Cove. Terry poked Cove squarely in the chest.
You're gonna have to get your schedule by this time yesterday.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So for our work, hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with the Orca activities. Oh, when Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his athletics and academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California Affiliation, ORCA. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. It was Cove's activity. You joined Orca too after learning it. You were Orca. Let's join it. Yeah!
There, big smash event for the year is coming right up, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not that much more to do before then, but I'm kind of looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off.
If anyone can do it, it's you two. And even if it goes really bad, it still looks good on the college application at least.
That's true.
Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go! I would like a meal now.
Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Excited by the plan, he smiled. Before we headed into town, happily chatting the whole way, the only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in the blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. Ugh, bye, guys. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. Oh. You were walking tiredly after such a long day. You strolled with a skip in your step. You ambled along. Cove was yes! Making back right! It was a long day and about you appreciated that you could rely on him to make things more comfortable for you. You tightened your grip on Cove and turned your head ever so slightly, peering at his face. Out of the corner of your eyes, you wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It surprised you when he did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. It feels so weird coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. And they're not. They're changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true, the things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. If you had to choose in this very moment, you wanted to go to school full-time, to go to school part-time, to full work, to focus on time that's not school or work. I don't know what to choose. I don't know. I don't really know though. Gosh, maybe I'll just pick randomly. I'm not really sure here. I don't know. Okay. We're doing work part-time. Oh wait, no, I chose more things, and that was the basics. Oh, okay. Wait, I don't know what I chose, but okay, let's work part-time. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what I chose first. For your career, you thought you'd find a company to work at, work online, do contract work. I don't know either. I don't know. Okay. I mean, to work at, work online. Maybe not work and do contract work. Maybe these two. Maybe a company to work at, work alone online, do work online. Actually no, let's do all of them. For your education, you thought attend a community college, public university, because of private college. I don't know either. All of these. Community college. All of them. Yeah. For yourself, you wanted to work on self-improvement on your own, take some more time to relax. Yeah. And that was all of it. And for that, you wanted to stay local, go to a different part of the state, go abroad, and it'll all be happening so soon. You already applied to schools and jobs, you already applied to schools, you already applied to jobs, you started to prepare for what was coming, you hadn't begun to do anything that yet. And yet you've been open up about your situation, everyone knew, and you'd only spoken about this with family and those who were close to you like Cove, and you kept it all to yourself, and Cove was the only person you knew. Cove was the only person you knew. Now you wondered what Cove had in mind. You heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Cove stopped in the middle of the street. He sighed and put you down. You were both outside of your houses. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to say. So, are you still thinking about relaxing for a while and stuff abroad? You nodded. Your stomach felt like it was twisting into knots. Cove closed his eyes and nodded while you composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head. I decided on something, well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm. Then his expression grew more serious. I'm not gonna decide on a school or a career, not this summer. I'm gonna stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want to do for myself by fall. Or next year. Maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. I'm not gonna crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed. His tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations are weighing on him. I know that's not very exciting, but it's the best I can do for now. He laughed, self-derisively. But with the way his face looked, he thought he actually wanted to cry. Aww. Started crying. You plan on very, I'll miss you. I wanted you to come with you. Okay. You cry and starting okay. The word came out strained, yet the tears were coming faster now, obscuring your vision. His face crumbled and your original assumption was proven correct as the tears easily began. You're both crying again. This is like when we were kids. He started crying, so I started crying. Now I'm crying and he's starting to cry. No. His face crumbled and your original assumption was proven correct as tears easily began to fall from his eyes. His chest heaved and his words were whispered. I'm sorry. This should be a sad moment, but just the moment when they're both crying is kind of like a little silly to me. I'm sorry. No matter what's happening, I want you to know that you won't ever lose me. I won't really be gone. I'll still be there for you with the best I can, whether it's long distance or whatever else. Cove's whole expression softened, his lips pulled into an affectionate smile. Bird, you deserve to have everything you want in life. He laughed his bold declaration. Continued crying. Cry. Cove's declaration had your vision blurry again. No matter how many times you wiped your eyes with the back of your hand, your face was wet. Cove looked at you concerned. He took a step closer, and you placed a hand on your shoulder. The warmth from his proximity helped to relax you. He spoke to you softly, wholeheartedly, as he meant every word. Things are hard right now. It scares me, but it'll be okay. It'll be more than okay. Now that things are up to us, we can make our lives better than they were ever. You believed him. You appreciated his attempt to put on a brave face. You still felt unsure. You felt better after his reassurance. Whether Cove realized it or not, he said exactly what he needed to hear. He was right, and you almost felt excited, wanting to know what kind of future was waiting for you a few moments from now. Finally, your eyes stopped overflowing with tears and could meet Cove's gaze clearly. He nodded. That his expression morphed into a look of careful confidence. Clearly, he was still struggling with the topic, and you wondered what else might be on his mind. This was the start, I think, but it's not over, is it? We'll have to keep talking about it going forward. Yeah. Cove softly reiterated his promise. It'll be all okay. I will still always be there for each other. Is that good for you? It is. Cool, that's cool. I'll see you tomorrow, Bert. I'll see you tomorrow, good night. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could.
Good night.
He finally let go, giving you another smile. No, kiss! Kiss, damn it! No! They could have done like a kiss or something. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. He watched him and wondered how many more times will he be able to say that, I'll see you tomorrow. You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most of every moment you had this summer. Oh, that was good! I'm like actually like interested in the romance.
Like I was just like my character was like uninterested before, and now with the crush part I'm like a lot more interested. Okay, what time is it? Okay, we have 30 minutes. What do we want to do first? Let's save here. Okay. Well, first let me drink some water because my throat kind of feels dry. My God, I was choked. I'm okay. I'm okay. Anyways. The Sue. Ow. Ow. He grabbed a large beach towel from off your bed and stuffed it into a bag. He already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach hangout session. The stars had aligned and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove and Terry, to find a time to hit the beach. You're hoping that this would be a fun time together. Ah, what the fuck? It's okay. Cove sat on your windowsill and Nick kicked out of the legs onto the air idly. He already had his swimsuit on. Okay, his towel had bundled under his arm and the mishap and all. Had shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. He was chatting as he caught up his preparation. Wait, let me. I probably shouldn't speak for a while. My throat's still like. I almost choked. Oh. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm good. But seriously, I couldn't fit my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere. It had disappeared. I had no idea what I was gonna do. You could have gone on a one somewhere, but what happened to all your other swimsuits? You don't have to wear a swimsuit No, wear a swimsuit, you stay quiet. 6! Oh my god, good. A new one somewhere. Stay quiet! Cove shook his head and tugged lightly on the leg of his suit. Anyways, I don't know why it was in the bathroom when I never put it out there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel in his arms. You now could see that it was head folded at some point, but that must have been carried without much care.
I'm so glad.
But I'm just glad I found it. It would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. Okay? It was nice to see Cove so happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. He walked over to your dresser and mused about how you had picked out your own swimsuit. Luckily, since you were of average height, you only needed to worry about finding the right size. When it came to the shape of your body, just medium, I don't really care. And? Muscles. Oh, we're like buff, yeah! I don't really care. Maybe I'll just close my eyes. It was clear you had Sully, you were very built. Okay, so we're buff, and the dense muscles were visible without having to flex them. Had become heavier than what you used to be when you were younger. You'd grown over the years and fleshed out a little more. Wait, that's kind of ironic, because Bird in our playthroughs just did not like sports or exercising. If you had gained muscles or muscle in recent years, it's clear that you compared to how you were when you were younger.
Are you okay?
You alright? Oh yeah, I was thinking about some things. What things? Just myself and my body, really. Just like, how did I grow muscles? I never exercised in my life. His eyebrow rose at your admission of self-reflection. And what do you think? What did you think of who you are? You considered your identity further. You had always felt sure about your gender. You wondered if your gender was really something you felt right. I'm fine with my gender. Why am I coughing still? Let me drink some water again. Being called her was right for you, and I don't really care either. I'm surgically removed. I'm sure.
They were not ugly enough to appear on your silhouette, though that was about it. You liked the size that you had? Oh, okay. Steve. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form, shaped their self-image. You're confident in yours. You were comfortable. I was comfortable. Your body was you, and it was a good one that you felt content in. You used to not feel as good when you were younger. Oh yeah, we didn't. But you had since grown in your body, but you felt more at home now and less uncomfortable. Focus on Cove again. He smiled as he tilted his head, a question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer, but before you had something to say to him. What do you think about me? You like the way I look, right? What do you think about me? What do you think, Cove? Right answers only. How about how I look, I mean. Cove smirked a little, his eyes taking you in ease. Fishing for compliments, Bert. You look great. Everyone knows that, including you, by the way, unless that's changed. You pouted, you laughed. So what if I wanted to call, but you still should? And then with a blush. You felt your cheeks heat up and looked away. Cove shook his head. His hand went up to try to unsubtly cover his smile. I was kind of worried you were so in your own head, because something was wrong. I guess not, I'm glad. Hey, Bert. Cove gave a bent smile, pointing to your arms. You're looking particularly buff today. I've never exercised in my life. He answered not with words, but a solid okay sign with both hands. He said the same cheeky smile. Skip suddenly blushed when you realized how boldly he complimented you. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You were a little taken aback. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. You like that? Yeah. You stood there stunned. You started to flex show up. He's so sweet. You have some good makeup. No, I don't want to flirt. No. You stood there stunned. You looked back at Cove and tried to think of just what was happening. He chuckled nervously and rubbed his own arms when he seemed unsure of what to do. Finally, you felt that was enough for that topic for now. You went back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. Casual clothes instead, one-piece swimsuit, two-piece bikini, tankini, two-piece, I guess. While you dug around your drawers, you tried to think if there was anything else you were missing. Hat. Wait, goggles! No, a hat. With the taken care of, you held your outfit together and looked to Cove. He was tapping his toes on the side of the wall as he waited. You vaguely wondered if he thought it was a comfortable place to sit. You hoped so, given how long he'd perched on it. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him, just chilling there. I need a change. Cove smiled, content with being kicked out. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers your cheek when he passed by. I'll see you out front. Okay. When you were alone, you got undressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time, and it seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and walked outside. Cove stood on the road, looking down and scuffing his feet in the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked up at you and smiled. Hi. Hi, Miranda and Terry are gonna be here in not too long. Terry even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule. Well, why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. It sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where he'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out in the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You all had lucked out. It was a beautiful day. The sky was clear and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect. Do you feel like heading into the water? Maybe just walk down the shore, or would you want to do something here? The water sounds good. Taking a stroll would be fun. Water sounds good. That's what I'm here for anyway. Cove nodded, accepting the plan. He kicked some of sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, that sounds good. Nice. You took a deep breath and tasted this relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terry running straight for you. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terry followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric, more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. You shouted agreeing. You cheered at your aunt her antics. You waved too. You laughed. You shook your head. You hoped they wouldn't fall. Woo. Oh, I love their outfits! The two officially arrived at Cove's and you are set up, looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. They were already in the swimwear and were raring to go. Hey, Terry, Miranda, welcome to our beach.
Hey!
Hi.
Hello, hello!
She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile.
Man,
Man, I am so pumped.
yeah, I'm already really glad that this worked out.
Well, what have you guys been up here to over here in your town? Cove, Bert, have we missed things? Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. You shrugged like Cove. You gave a vague answer. How your family was saying? What have you been doing? Yeah. Wait, no. What have you been doing, Terry? Oh, let me go back. No, come on. Yeah. The usual. Terry laughed and mentioned a few things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. Terry had then started talking about her morning. Now she'd almost overslept since she stayed up too late last night and bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently everything had gone smoothly. She'd met up with Terry on the way here and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, why don't we take this out to the water?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he could be thoughtful like that. Terry threw her stuff down on the sand and started running for the waves. Miranda was more careful, setting down her things and waited for you and Cove. Cove tilted his shoulder to gesture over this ocean. I've been looking forward to this. The three of you made your way down to the shoreline together. Miranda cartwheeled and Terry clapped. Soon all four of you were in the water. Cove swam out the furthest while Terry instigated and splashed fights. There was rarely a quiet moment where someone wasn't laughing. Hours passed and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped at some water. Your friends were hard at her work, burying Terry's full body under a pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's side. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff. In the middle of everyone's towel setup, you pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on the towel. He opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Hey. Hey. He ran his hands across his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him a little out from the corner of your eye while sipping some water.
Okay. But then he sighed again. No, I don't want to look at that. Nah, I'm good.
This time in an exaggerated, disappointed way, you wondered if he was going to sigh again. even more dramatically if he didn't say anything. The song you honestly wondered. He wondered what it was. He raised an eyebrow. He chuckled. Oh, come, whatever it is, I'm sure you're going to be okay. What's wrong? He inspected Yu's face to see if there was anything actually distressed about him, but he still just looked like he was exaggerating. He asked anyway, since it was obvious that was what he wanted. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. He's frowned and matched the speckle in his eyes.
Don't worry about it.
I've just becoming more jaded, another jaded adult, that's all. Now you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. Yeah! We told you that a long time ago! What? That had not been what you expected. You were expecting. He continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid. Well, merfolk is a fat hole. I really hope that they were out there. I mean, the ocean's a big place, right? It could be somewhere. But the older I got, the more I had to accept that they were just a fairy tale. He jerked his head over to the waterline, and the rolling waves, they crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast, and never too crowded. If merfolk didn't exist, we definitely would have met one by now, or at least we would have heard of someone else seeing one, but nothing. He acted as though the result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. I gotta let the dream go. You can believe still! You burst out laughing. It's hardly proof it's not like this. Shook your head, you went shocked and disappointed. Shocked and disappointed. What? Mermaids aren't real? You looked at him and tried to get through tears and started welling up in your eyes. I can't believe it. Cove chuckled a little to himself, eyes tilted off into the sea, his face still low. And maybe it's for the best. Let's say a mer person did happen to wash up on the shore one day. He looked at you with a fox doleful expression. I could have lost my best friends to their magical underwater worlds. Oh yeah, I'd totally go live under the sea with merfolk. Even if I had a chance to stay up, I'd go with a mer person, but only if you could come with us. Cove smirked triumphantly. I knew it, but I can't blame you. If a beautiful, kind mer person falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay and land with a normal guy. I'd say that. I'd probably say that. You warning me that I'd leave you if you were kind of on offer. Why are you so sure I'd make that call? Since this is a hypothetical, why not have you be the mer person? we can do this, maybe. I don't want that. I should get to the mer creature and invite you to the underwater world. Cove turned his face to me when you brightened immediately. Now we're talking. I'd be a good merman, right? No. Cove's gaze was drawn back to the water with shining eyes. He was clearly imagining some world where he was a merman who happens upon you here at the beach. He tried to picture what he could be thinking. It would be quite a lovely story. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terry had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda had meticulously built collapsed in a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically.
We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now?
No way.
No way, the burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore.
Okay, if you're sure, I'll try to fix this.
Miranda started to rebury her, and Terry shot her a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand on here crumpled, and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eyes and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out the system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terry to be entombed. Terry grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah! Resembling the Kool-Aid Man, she kicked herself out on the ground with gusto. Sand went flying on all directions, and Terry's shaped imprint was left behind. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The four of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest, while you found the most colorful. Cove caught a tiny crab. He did a bit of everything. There was impromptu games to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you all had run out of drinkable water anyway. It was decided that you'd head to your Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What next?
I don't have anywhere to go, so it could be whatever.
Same. I guess we can keep hanging out. Terry snorted and readjusted her grip on her things.
Don't sound too sure there, Cove.
By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued, everyone throwing out suggestions.
Wait, are people hungry?
You looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving, and it wasn't quite a mealtime.
We could get dessert.
Miranda put a finger to her lip and thought, with a smile, her voice became more confident.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Terry considered it and then shot Miranda a thumbs up.
Sounds great to me.
I can definitely go for that. I'm fine with that if everyone else wants it too. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friend glanced at Cove and his place. He shook his head immediately. That doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert, flavored protein shakes. Ooh, yum.
You know!
She cut in and held her hands, as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked. It's not. Oh!
There has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up.
Terry nodded and started to dig around in her bag.
I liked the way you think.
Terry continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in a triumph for a brief moment of celebration.
I'll search for something good.
Terry got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other.
But
she assessed Cove from top to bottom.
No shirt, no shoes, no service.
Cove glanced down the spare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Cove moved over to his house. You looked towards yours. He decided to change as well. You eat outside with the girls. I want to talk to them though. Let's talk to them. You watched Cove disappear to the house. Terry had this deep in the midst of scrolling through the food options. You shuffled over to where you could see Miranda and did the same.
And there's ice cream. People love ice cream, especially around here.
I don't really feel like ice cream.
Cool, cause I don't either.
She flicked her fingers up and another ice cream place showed up. Multi Moo Moo's frozen treats with an unfortunate cartoon mascot.
I like ice cream, it's just not for today. There has to be something else.
Boba tea. You thought on it and Terry kept scrolling. You heard a door open and Cove reappeared. You were about to be surprised at how quick he was, but not as he'd just thrown on his t-shirt over his swim trunks and slipped a pair of sandals on. Of course, I mean, that's usually what guys do, I guess. Hey. Everyone else exchanged their respective greetings and then looked back at Terry's phone. Terry scrolled further and then made an interested exclamation.
Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. That's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are.
She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. And didn't show any pictures of an actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation, with branded wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings. Weird. I've never heard of it. I haven't either.
Mysterious, but crepes are so good.
She nodded her approval as Terry admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Oh, can you drive? Terry cheered at the success of a plan made, and you all walked around to Cove's car. He had to run out inside one more to grab his keys. He rode "Wash me in the dirt." Yes. You noticed the thin coat of sand and dust on Cove's car. It had probably been a while since he'd washed it. With a smirk, you carefully wrote "Wash me" with your finger.
Very nifty.
Good work. I wonder if he's gonna notice. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hand slipped into his face and you brushed it back. Shotgun! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back of your Miranda. Terry activated directions on your phone map and acted as a navigator directing Cove to the crepes. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn into a non-existent road once and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn, but with Terry looking at the actual path, it went smooth enough. You were led to the small stall in the parking lot rather than the full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the Crippery's interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. There was a hidden window you could walk up to and one of your cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh.
Come on.
I don't think I need to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it, so let's go. Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-thru option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Apparently, they'd been a dessert explosion on top of the multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be a cake icing. That's sweet.
So great.
Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much. I couldn't finish it and I really tried.
You can do this. You can do it too. You can do it this time, Randy.
Oh. There was some laughs. When you got up to the menu, you realized that there were more than just crepes. There were definitely crepes, many crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of different drinks as well. Tea, smoothies, milkshakes. Jackpot! She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived it. The two started at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made and then slowly put their hands down. Cove's mouth twitched in a smile. You stepped up to the order first. You glanced back at the menu. Ordered a crepe and drink. Hello, I'd like to get a crepe and a drink, please. There was a woman who looked a little older than you taking the orders. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of the purchase. For the crepe itself you wanted? Ooh, green tea. For the filling and toppings you picked? Chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, powdered everything except strawberries. Cream cheese. That was all. After you picked the size, you were asked what you wanted to drink. You ordered? Well, we're on the way. Options, ice cream tea. You could also add a mix and the toppings toppings for the drink. Boba pearls, chocolate syrup, whipped cream. Oh wait, all of it. You peed and sipped aside to let your friends order. Cove got a lemon crepe with a powdered sugar on top with mixed berries. He also got a plain strawberry smoothie. Terry was crazy with toppings. Although she ordered a plain crepe, she had it smothered with whipped cream, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, and bananas. Miranda opted for a frappe with a caramel syrup and condensed milk. Four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. I heard what you ordered, Bird. Glad I'm not the only one to go for a drink and a crepe. I couldn't pick just one, and why not? Exactly, it's gonna be good.
Wow.
Your drink sounded good. I thought about copying you.
She looked at you with a curious look in her eye.
Why do you pick all that?
If I just felt like it, it was random. I really like stuff, and it's pretty normal for me. I wanted to make it weird. I really like stuff like that.
Cool.
Bert, man, your crepe is gonna rock. High five for topping appreciation. She held her hand out expectantly. Hi, Spectre. What's a cool for you? Yeah, this is just like a PNG model I made like a while ago. Yeah, I've been doing good. I've been doing fine. How are you, by the way? I'm like at the third. I think I'm like at the third part of this game. By the way, the model's kind of a little based on Love in Deep Space, specifically the merman I'm carrying. He gave her a high five. High five! While holding my drink and my crepe, and I try to high five her. Yeah, that's totally gonna work. Maybe I'm a bit late. Oh, you're good. Yeah. There's still, I think, a lot of stuff I'm still going through in the scene. You hit her hand with a satisfying smack, somehow. Order for Bird! Oh, I've gotta get there. You grabbed your order, and the others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. Terry dug her right into hers, and Miranda gave hers a tentative spit. Terry nodded acceptingly, with her mouth completely full. Miranda tilted the frappe over to her with a grin. Terry sipped it and clearly loved it. She raised her crepe over to Miranda. You could tell that there was an intent to make it look nice, but with all the assorted toppings piled on, only so much could be done. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terry seemed satisfied and took another slurp with Miranda's drink. They had both only gotten one thing, probably, because they knew they'd end up sharing. Cove, do you want to share ours? Terry, Miranda, can I join in sharing? You offered to share your order. Cove. His face lit up with excitement and he passed you his crepe. You exchanged treats and took a chomp on the lemon crepe. It was light, with the sourness from the lemon and the sweetness from the syrupy berry mix. The smoothie was finally blended with an occasional chunk of strawberries. Cove seemed to enjoy his taste, and then he swapped back. He smiled as he took a loud sip from his smoothie. Thanks, you always get good stuff. With that, Cove started to eat his treats in earnest. You saw him take a huge gulp of his smoothie, and then without swallowing, he added a bite of his lemon crepe. Cove? Terry tore off a piece of her crepe and held it out to Cove. Care to make a trade? Sure. Instead of continuing to loiter in the parking lot, the four of you started to walk down the sidewalk. There was a lot of sharing going on, with crepe bits and toppings being passed around. You wouldn't have been surprised if Terry ended up drinking more frappe than Miranda did. He kept going down the way, eating, drinking, and chatting. Oh, where are we? Whoa, I have not seen this part of the game before. What? Oh man, how did we get to the edge of the town? What? You hadn't realized just how far the group had wandered until you ended up at the now leaving sign. Apparently you were about to just walk right out in the middle of nowhere. Terry took her mouth off of Miranda's straw and stopped sipping the frappe. Impossible, preposterous! How are you already at the end?
I always forget how tiny the town really is.
Cove chuckled a little and swallowed a chunk end of Terry's crepe.
I guess.
It kinda is, huh? I didn't feel this small when we were growing up. Definitely felt bigger. It always seemed like there wasn't much here. There was a tinier places out there. You guys are lucky to live in a decent size. Quiet, not along. It always seemed like there wasn't much here. It definitely felt bigger then. Yeah, it definitely felt bigger then. I thought it was like a decent sized town, honestly. There was a time when Sunset Bird had felt huge. It seemed as endless as the ocean. There was always some street you hadn't wandered or down, something new for the tourists. But now you hadn't realized it was just a pawn in this big, big world. Seeing an indefinite end only reinforced this. Here was the boundary that proved your hometown could be walked out of ease. I guess this means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into nowhere land.
We're not only one, Terry, there's four of us.
Terry scrunched up her face. Not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke, she decided to ignore it.
It stinks going to go all the way back. Yeah, it's not like there's anything out of that direction.
And if we did keep going forward, it'd be any longer trip home. He stared off in the stretch of road as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go any further.
Can we take a break here first before we turn around? We've been walking for a while and someone finished my drink.
On cue, Terry loudly sucked air from the straw.
It was so good.
Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained repentant. I don't know what that word means. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the sign before heading back to the car. Didn't take long for the rest to finish the rest of the food and drinks. Everyone gathered up the trash and stuffed into the bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed on the grass, keeping account on all the cars that drove past. It was not a high number.
14.
The newest passing car drove into town from somewhere outside, but as the vehicle came by, it slowed down and you watched as it ultimately rolled into a complete stop. The black car parked right by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look. But then the tinted window rolled down. What's going on? What's going on here? The driver peered out. As soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him, and no one else you presented themselves as. Oh, is it that black and white haired dude? Why is he here? Baxter, why are you here? Oh my gosh. Hey neighbors! Cove also jolted with recognition. He pasted on a cordial smile and waved politely. Afterwards, he put his mouth back over the straw of his long empty drink as if to try to act cool. He just wondered what he was doing here. I'm wondering, yeah, why are you doing here? It was pretty random to just so happen to come across someone like Baxter. He seemed to be driving to town as well, so you wondered what his day had looked like. He looked sharp and sophisticated, like he'd just done something professional. Well, if it was now professional to look a little goth, that is. And you thought about the odd picture that was made. A fancy black car pulled over to talk to a group of teens, most likely in a beachwear. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch. Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture, pointing towards Baxter with a light bulb went off for Terry.
Ah, that's the new person in the condo, the B-man, right?
Yeah, Baxter.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I'd ever actually see him.
Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Oh, same man, same. Terry was quite the opposite.
Incredible, this is perfect.
Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, all full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted imaginary dirt off her clothes. She sent a searching look at you and Cove, to which Cove shrugged. Miranda nodded and, with clenched fists, hesitantly followed Terry. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through his window. She blasted through introductions, with Miranda putting in a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He still clearly had no intention of going over. He stayed with Cove. When Cove realized you were planning to stay with him, he smiled a little. Cove shuffled closer and dropped his voice. Honestly, I still find it kind of hard to talk to that guy. Oh, same man, the same. I feel the same way, exactly the same way. He's always so forward. Cove nodded and pulled up some grass. He twisted a few blades together and then twisted them the other way. I'm glad it's not just me. He glanced over to the girls, and it was clear from watching them that Terry at least didn't feel the same. It wasn't surprising given her personality, but you couldn't help but worry how running into Baxter was about to change your day. The two of you waited for the others to finish up. You couldn't hear what they were saying from here, but you could see from the body language that Terry was up to something and Miranda didn't like it. You and your neighbor exchanged a look. After Miranda seemed to calm down slightly, Terry turned around, waved at you. She put her hands to her face to make a megaphone.
Come on, get over here. Baxter's giving us a ride.
Cove's mouth popped open in surprise, and his lips curled together in clear displeasure. I mean, I know we met the guy, and he's our neighbor, but I don't know if I want to trust him. We only met him, like, once, and this is the second time we're meeting him. I don't know. I don't really trust him that much, but sure, why not? I should have known she's always pulling something. He took a slow breath and then shrugged. Guess we have to get over there. It's gonna be a really awkward now, since he knows we tried not talking to him. Yeah. You followed him over to the car, apparently about to get a lift. You were just happy to get a ride. You were annoyed by Terry. You were following comfort to get. We were just happy to get a ride. Regardless of anything else, you didn't have to walk back. That's what counted. And you were grateful to Terry for arranging it. You arrived at the driver's seat, sidecar window, and Baxter smiled and welcomed me.
Hello? Hey.
Cove greeted him mildly, his expression cautious. Hi.
Apparently, plan made. Let's hop in.
You excitedly opened the passenger side door and buckled yourself in. The car was pristine, and you were right near the new car scented air freshener. Dude, this looks exactly the same as Cove's car. Baxter had the air conditioner on cold, but low, so it was pleasantly cool inside. A nice relief from the summer sun you had been baking in all day. Your friends clambered on and back. It definitely seemed the slightest bit squished back there. Oh, Baxter had the air conditioner on cold. Wait, I already read this. Your friends clambered on the back. Definitely seemed the slightest bit. Yeah, I read that too.
Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable, and if someone could point me into the right direction, we could be on our way.
Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined her journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end of the parking lots. Baxter nodded from up in the driver's seat and pulled back into the road. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. Dude, where did you come from also? I just want to know. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. Woo! Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously, smiled. You were relieved you may have made it. You clapped as well. You joined in the celebration. Baxter gave a couple of polite claps as well.
We've arrived. That was easy.
Terry flung open her door and climbed out. Thanks! Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked Baxter with a varying degrees of enthusiasm. Baxter himself got out too. Everyone congregated and again in front of Baxter's and Cove's cars. Cove looked at the back of his and frowned. He'd finally discovered the wash me. He'd put it in. No, he figured it out. He caught it. I wonder who did that. He snickered along with Miranda, who realized he'd been caught.
It's a mystery.
Right. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easily with a charming grin. You're
You're a pal.
You're too kind. Oh,
You're too kind. It was no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all this summer. If it suits you, you're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need of another ride. And that goes for everyone here.
I have a car. Terry burst into laughter and Miranda frigided. She did not know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt of the head.
I'd be happy to help again, but that's the only reason I offered. If you don't need it, then you can pass on it. Wait, I wonder if this is gonna make Cove upset. Can I have your number?
He beamed wildly at your response.
Cove's face! Why does he look uncomfy? Why does Cove look like uncomfy?
Was he? Oh yeah, because he loved his offer, but Baxter's offer. Okay, I thought he was I don't know if he was uncomfy from when we said, can we have his number?
Oh, absolutely.
Baxter pulled out the pen he had with him for some reason, and he jotted his number down. He passed the little paper to you, and he accepted. When her giggles subsided, Terry put a hand to her chin with brows forward.
I wonder, would that option be available right now? You could valid us somewhere cool.
Cove was taken aback.
He put a hand on the hood of his car. Weren't we gonna go back to our neighborhood? Wasn't Baxter going back to the neighborhood too? Why would we go somewhere else?
Because we can?
Miranda squirmed nervously and then committed to piping up.
We could go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out.
You and Cove shared a look. The big park was pretty nice.
Let's do that.
Baxter tapped the side of his face in thought.
Doable.
Why does he sound like that? Okay.
He glanced at Cove and then switched focus to you. We have two cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home. But if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. You decided to go back to the neighborhood with Cove. You wanted to continue with the hangouts. Wait, if we go to the park, will we still be with Cove or no? Because I want to be with Cove. What did he say? Well, but if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. Okay, fine, let's just go home. You'd rather go back for now, you let the group know. Both girls frowned, neither wanted to leave you or Cove behind. Terry especially looked troubled and started bouncing in place.
Today's all about us hanging out. We can't just bail.
Miranda nodded a bit for her lip.
We don't have to go to the park.
Going back to neighborhood has plenty of appeal. It could prove to be the better idea.
Cove Winston shook his head. No, really, it's fine. We've done plenty of hanging out today. If you want to go to the park, you should. Right, you can have fun with Baxter. It's okay. Okay. She didn't sound too thrilled, and Miranda patted her on the shoulder.
Okay.
Guess we'll see you later then? Probably. Cove smiled and she rolled her eyes at her wishy-washy answer. He knew you'd be seeing them again. Everyone finished saying their goodbyes and the three climbed into Baxter's car. He waved. You waved bye. Terry waved back into both hands enthusiastically while Miranda waved like a princess from the back seat before Baxter drove off. He inclined his head to you and Cove. Then Baxter rolled down his one window.
Have a safe journey back. I'll send you around the neighborhood.
Baxter started to pull out of the parking lot and Cove waved them off, stepping forward as they pulled away. Then it was just you and Cove left in the parking lot. He rubbed his hands together for a moment and locked his car. Yay, moment with Cove! He got a 2-shotgun seat at the time, and Cove took his place at the wheel. He put his key into the ignition and turned to you. I had a feeling you wouldn't want to go. I was ready to go back. Thank you for giving me an out. Didn't respond. Actually, I wanted to go so that you had a reason to leave. Cove smiled, satisfied, and finally turned his key to start the car. The car ride back passed quietly. They were all familiar roads you'd seen before. Soon you'd return to the comfort of your own neighborhood. Cove pulled in and parked. He shut off his car. Then you both got out to stand on the road. I guess that's it. Thanks for the ride, Cove. I'll see you later. It was fun. Aw, no moment with Cove. Oh, frick. Oh my gosh, I actually okay. The moment for Cove, no. Pleasant farewells, given you walk to your front door. You change out of your swimsuit and into more comfortable clothes. This was definitely a benefit of coming back. Time ticked by as the sun started to set. Orange gold light streamed in through the windows. You could tell that weather was still really nice out there. Your attention was taken by your phone. Away as your phone was in your hand. At the top of the screen, a little alert told you that you had a new message. Hi Bert, we're gonna see fireworks. Do you wanna come? Oh. And Terry texted Cove. He said he'll be there. What? Wait, okay, there's more? How do their trip start at hanging out at the park and end at finding some previously unknown fireworks spectacle? It was definitely news to you. Fireworks? I'd love to. Yes. Fireworks sounded awesome. You sent your response with a tap of your finger. That was something you couldn't miss. Miranda sent back a cheery smiley face not even 5 seconds later. Then you got a yay and she sent another message that told you that Cove would be out at the car soon. You quickly got yourself ready and heeled out into the world once more. On the way, you sent a message to Cove that you were coming. He texted that you was already outside. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff happening in this event. Just as he promised, Cove was waiting by his car. He hadn't bothered to change at all. He was quite comfortable along with the swim shorts. He slipped in his phone to his pocket and waved you over without needing to say a thing. Got into the shotgun seats. You noticed the exterior of his car was no longer coated with dust. He just must have washed it in the past few hours. Direct action. Cove looked over to you from the driver's side and smirked as he started up the car. Here we go again. Yep. He pulled out into the road and raced towards the city as the sun continued to sink below the horizon. When the city lights sparkled around you, Cove started looking for a parking spot it had made in the smooth drive, but unfortunately finding parking was a task. You tried to text Miranda to see where they had parked, but she admitted that there hadn't been any openings around here. They had gotten lucky with one single spot. Cove had to drive around a few blocks, but finally you spotted something. He pulled in and parked, feeling just as triumphant as if he'd won an actual prize. Terry sent you a text saying to hurry up and get to the waterfront. Miranda attached a helpful picture of where they were. He pointed the way to Cove, and the two of you jogged around the bend and then down the brick-lined walkway. Eventually, you saw 3 silhouettes in the distance. They started to wave and yell. One of them jumped in place with her arms going back and forth. It had to be your friends. You rushed over to them. Miranda and Terry ran up to meet you halfway with faces full of smiles.
Hey,
Oh.
We missed you.
Buddies, I knew the day wasn't over for us.
Hey. Hi. Baxter had stepped up at some point too. He ran a hand through his hair, trying not to interrupt their union. Okay.
Hello?
Hey. Cove gave him a nod with a brand, a brag. Together, the group walked back to the area where Baxter, Miranda, and Terry had originally set up at. This quiet, upon open area on the waterfront, Cove let out a relieved sigh after things calmed down. So, did we miss anything?
No, you're good. Nothing's happened yet. We think it's going to start really soon, though.
Oh, what are the fireworks even for?
Well,
She smiled a big grin at Miranda.
Randy talked about watching fireworks at the park, and that reminded me about how things this big company having an event tonight. I heard that we're gonna have fireworks. There's no way we were ever going into the party, but
She put a finger up and her smile turned devious.
I'm positive we'll still be able to see the fireworks from here. They can't hide explosions in the sky for public.
That's ridiculous. He suddenly wondered how Terry had convinced Cove to come without a prior explanation. He was utterly stunned that this was the source of the fireworks. To be fair, he hadn't asked Miranda for the details either. Cove scratched his head in defeat. I wonder we're already I guess we're already here. It's kind of too late now.
You bet your wet blanket it's too late.
She shook her head with exasperation, but let him off with minimal teasing. You felt excited. You thought that this was a kind of silly situation. You were nervous about how close the fireworks could be. You felt pretty laid back about the whole thing. You felt excited. Spontaneity of the whole thing combined with the amazement of fireworks was a recipe for you to be bursting with anticipation. It couldn't start soon enough. Terry led Miranda to sit down on the oval slabs along the path. Miranda took a seat and began tapping her knees together as she waited. Terry, meanwhile, crouched more than sat. Baxter flashed an unreadable smile at Cove and you, and took a spot next to the girls. Why did he smile like that at us? Cove seemed surprised and looked over his shoulder to watch him begin to chat with Terry. I guess he's trying not to upset us. You know, he seems fine. I guess Baxter's not that bad. Whether he left to make Cove and you more comfortable wanting to escape potential awkwardness, or if he really had just hit it off with the girls earlier was anyone's guess. That's nice. Something seemed to strike Cove as he tried excessively to hide a smile. Most of us are in swimsuits. Wearing beachwear in the middle of the city in the dark while waiting for a fireworks show was clearly the joke of the day for him. Cove snorted once then looked back up at the sky. Yo, fireworks! A flash lit up of the sky with a brilliant green. Your eyes flew off the building in the distance and silently watched with a bated breath. You heard a second boom and a red firework lit up in the night.
Ooh, that show's starting!
It's so pretty.
They came running over to the get closer, positively beaming. Terry pressed herself to the front fence, getting as close as physically possible without just going swimming again. Baxter followed a few steps behind. His mouth hung open at the sight for a moment until he caught himself and once again shifted to pleasantly composed. More fireworks went off, shooting out hundreds of tiny sparkling lights. The colors stood out starkly against the dark of the night. The biggest ones washed your surrounding with their hue, turning your world blue and then red and then golden.
Welcome.
Did I deliver or did I deliver?
Miranda's eyes glittered, and she lightly bumped Terry with her hip.
Good job.
Terry stumbled after a friendly nudge, but was pleased with the compliment. She grinned back. Miranda lightly swung her hips in the opposite way to give you a bump as well. It was friendly and soft.
We did it!
He smiled at her and nodded. You were pleased that you hadn't missed any of the show after all. You were glad that everyone seemed to be having it. come to. I liked it. Despite how unorthodox the impromptu fireworks plan had been, you were ecstatic it worked out. Luckily, he arrived in time and it was shaping up to be a particularly colorful fireworks show. The rest of the group huddled around the railing to take in the show as closely as possible. Miranda stood close by. Terry's hands gripped the top. Cove laid his arms across it while leaning forward, and Baxter rested his elbows on the rail, putting his back towards the fireworks. He seemed to have more fun watching the others than the actual show. Ooh! She pointed out a golden firework and beamed.
Ah, that's so cool.
Terry held out a pan on a high five and held up a hand for a high five, and Miranda obliged her. Terry whooped and shot you a smile. What color do you think the next one will be? Without giving Baxter a glance, Cove answered immediately. Green. Oh, it's green. It was orange. Oh, never mind. Baxter chuckled, but wasn't interested in calling Cove out for being wrong. Is that your favorite color, green? It's one of them. That's my favorite color too. I think that's nice. It matches you. And is yours black? That's one of them. Cove smirked just a little and left the conversation there. He stood next to the girls. Oh, Cove! Cove! Cove looked away from the fireworks and grinned at you. He was glad to be spending time with you and tilted his head at this particular multicolored firework above. I think that's been my favorite so far. He shot you another look and nodded, wanting to move up closer. In front of him, you can see the night's lights reflect on the water. Wait, close. Okay. You rested your arm on Cove's shoulder. You leaned your body against Cove. Da. You rested against his side and let yourself relax. You felt solid and sturdy beside you. It was comfortable. You took a moment to watch him, and the fireworks reflected on his eyes. Cove grinned like a kid. Cove's gaze drifted from the show of dazzling lights straight at you, and he sighed dreamily. You didn't know when you'd last seen him so blissful. The spectacle continued to up the ante by bringing more fireworks out at a time. The colors danced across the sky and reflected over the water. You reached out a hand and watched as if it was tinted green while a big boom sounded. Fireworks were a normal summer tradition, but this was admittedly an unconventional approach. Showing up in the city last minute to watch a display from a technically private event? That made this feel special in a way that was just planning to go to a public fireworks show and never would. Terry's idea may not have left you without a lot of time to prepare, but it sure led to a unique situation. It was clear this was an unforgettable night. As the finale sounded, blazing the sky with unbelievable beauty, you remembered thinking that there might never be a night exactly like this once again. Not for the rest of your life. You planned to hold on to the feelings you had in the moment for as long as you could. Yay. Oh, that was nice. That was sweet. That was pretty sweet. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll end it here. Kinda enjoyed like these last few scenes. I mean, we technically saw like 2 events. But I think the event before this was my favorite one. Family on Step 2 was probably my favorite. I liked Tang, but I think it's pretty sweet, but I think it dragged on a little bit, but I still enjoyed it. Also, like I like the awkwardness between that they made between Bert and Cove. And I'm actually enjoying the crush option. I'm actually enjoying that a bit. So, yeah. Okay, I will be streaming this game tomorrow. My goal tomorrow is probably finishing Step 3, and I guess we'll be almost done with the game. We're at the 3rd quarter of this game, so like, I'm pretty surprised I got to the 3rd quarter. I thought it would be like longer for me, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna go head out. You guys have a good day or good night wherever you are. Bye.